The game begins as the virtual capsule executes it. The game elements are defined randomly at every moment. The path you take derives from a single difficulty level. It's very sunny. It's a real life you can feel through the virtual capsule. People are attacked by dragons. The whole world is excited. There are about 300 million recurring users, trying everything in that world. Once, a strange message appeared in the game. The life of the character and the user was synchronized. If the character dies, the user dies too. People began to lose their lives inside the game, and when they died, everything ended. From that point on, chaos ensued. Deaths began to affect the characters, especially those who did not pay attention to the game's warnings. Now everyone is dead. This happened simultaneously in the real world in various places at the same time. All these users died of unknown causes, and experts could not come up with a solution. There was only one thing everyone knew. That is Munder 72 of Dantalion. It is very difficult, and no one has ever managed to get there, and since this is no longer a game, not being able to get there means death. Our hero's sister is trapped in the game. She is inside one of the virtual capsules. Her brother passes by her capsule. There is no other option but to clear the game. The MC lies down inside a capsule. He is determined to save his sister because she is his reason for living. The game announces that customization is complete and he has entered the game as a monk. His name is Yoon Tae-ang. The boy opens his eyes inside the game. He wonders if this is the starting point. Then he hears someone say that a very simple character has appeared. It is the administrator BJ Hyeon Hai. She comments that she thought he would choose another type of look. She is said to help Yoon Tae-ang, giving him information about the game. The boy asks if she is judging him for wearing those clothes. The girl is taken aback. Then she says that here is just an outfit to see the player's reactions. She starts trying to change the clothing. The girl is very indignant with Yang. Then Hyeon Hai introduces herself as a miniature and says that she normally looks that way. Hyeon says that it is very strange. Hyeon explains that all he needs is his eyes. With that small body, she can appear wherever she wants without being noticed. He must leave the mapping to her. The MC says there is only one thing he cannot forget. At that exact moment, Biorim is waiting for them. Suddenly, a strange box appears. Its name is W, and it asks what is happening and who that crazy guy who just entered is. Several other boxes appear with different names. They start teasing Yoon Tae-ang and saying that he will die soon. Our hero is indignant and asks Hyeon what those annoying things are. The girl replies that if he is new to Dantalion and wants to finish that, he will probably need help from those people. The players recognize Hyeon V's voice. Yoon Tae-ang tells the observers to enjoy themselves because they will end that game. Hyeon observes that he needs to watch the movement first. He starts to move and do acrobatics and notices that the responsiveness is immediate. With that, you will probably not have problems. The users watching Hyeon are impressed that he is already making his first moves. They wonder if the boy is from another game. One of the observers says that this is the first stage. It seems that this tower has the highest difficulty level of the initial stages. They start talking about how difficult that stage is. Suddenly, a strange hand emerges from the ground. One of the observers is startled, but Hyeon is not. Among the monsters of Stage 1, the most difficult monster is the cursed skeleton. A horde of skeletons approaches. They are made from the remains of those who have been there. A curse effect occurs when they attack. The users watching are astonished because there are so many skeletons. They wonder how a novice will handle all that alone. Hyeon observes that those skeletons have a high difficulty level, and normally that stage can only be cleared by teams of 3 or 4 people. She shouts for Tae-ang to be careful because the skeletons have a curse effect, but the boy is calm. One skeleton rushes forward, but the boy is alert. He dodges the enemy's attack and reflects that he even got nervous because of the difficulty of that mode. Tae-ang prepares to attack the skeleton. He hits the enemy and concludes that it is not a big deal. After the attack, he feels his hand burn and notices that the synchronization of the game with real life is at 99%. The skeleton's head goes flying. The viewers are impressed and start to get agitated. That level should be difficult, and he is just a beginner. Smiling, Tae-ang says he will remember that user's ID. He reflects that if he manages all of this and leaves, he won't get a second chance, so he will give examples of what more than one man can do. The MC advances on the skeletons. The creatures are restless. Tae-ang weaves through the skeletons, hitting them all quickly. In the chat, the viewers are astonished and say the game shouldn't be this easy. People are impressed with how quickly Tae-ang passed the first level. He lands on the ground and the system informs him that he has reached stage 2. Tae-ang asks Hyeon how many stages that game has, and the girl replies that the first floor of the Tower of Death has approximately 3 stages. In the game chat, people are outraged and say he will probably die at this level. The young man questions if he really has to keep hearing that. A sword strikes the ground. 3 skeletons approach and Hyeon is startled. They are armored skeletons. Their attack and power are 5 times greater than that of a normal skeleton. The observers are shocked and can't believe that creature appeared only in the 2nd stage. Generally, those skeletons are associated with the 3rd stage. Desperate, Hyeon shouts to Tae-ang that they need to retreat and come up with a strategy. But Tae-ang asks why Hyeon is acting that way. He still needs to play that game. Then he questions the point of feeling intimidated by skeletons wielding a knife. The other observing players say the boy is crazy and won't get any more help. One skeleton prepares to attack the MC. The young man notes that he has been through this in other games, but in Dantalion, the synchronization is 99%. From his experience, the speed seems to have increased twofold. Compared to the enemies he fought in other games, they seem much slower. Taeyang dodges the attack. Then he strikes one of the skeletons directly. Quickly, he delivers more attacks and takes down the enemies. Just like in the first level, he flies among the skeletons, attacking each one of them. The viewers are astonished and question whether Taeyang is really a novice. The armored skeletons should be very difficult, but the young man is facing all of them with ease. Hein is amazed. She expected Taeyang to do well in the game, but he is even better. She never imagined he would be so incredible. Taeyang rushes forward at high speed. He just needs to cross a door to get through the level. Taeyang gains momentum and breaks down the door in one go. He enters and says that was very easy. Then he asks if that is the final boss. Before them stands a massive creature. It is the giant skeleton, a secret boss. When alive, it was a powerful giant, and now it has returned from the dead. No one has ever defeated it. Taeyang doesn't think it's a big deal and questions if that's all there is. Hyun wonders how the MC can be so unlucky. No one has ever defeated that giant skeleton. She thought it was just a rumor. It's the first time it has appeared. The enemy attacks and Taeyang dodges. Hyun says that this is a different type of monster and our hero needs to pay attention to the fragments around him. Taeyang observes the skeleton after dodging its attack. He concludes that the enemy is quite strong and wonders if its level is different from the previous ones. Then he concludes that it doesn't matter much to him. The boy is determined to defeat that enemy. The giant skeleton tries to attack him again. Taeyang dodges calmly. After that, he evades several consecutive attacks from the enemy. Han shouts for the MC to be careful of a giant pillar falling in his direction. Taeyang dodges in time and thanks her for the warning. But the giant skeleton tries to attack Taeyang even more. The boy dodges and says he used to do that only with big guys like him. The skeleton glares furiously and Taeyang says that's a combo. The MC sweeps the giant skeleton's legs. If the big guy's center of gravity falls, then there's only one thing left. Taeyang jumps high to attack. He uses his power and adds acceleration to the attack, then prepares to throw a punch. Finally, he finishes off the giant skeleton. The people watching say they remember that combo, and it comes from an old fighting game. The King of the Fist was the world champion for 5 consecutive years. That was Yun Taeyang. Taeyang uses his deadly attack on the creature. The skeleton's head goes flying far away. Then it lands right in Taeyang's hand. He spins it with a finger, mocking. Smiling, the young man says he feels a bit better now. Everyone there is astonished. They can hardly believe that this is Taeyang, the master of the fist, who is using a very simple character with no additions. Taeyang lets the giant's head drop to the ground. He then moves to the front of a gate. He pushes the gate with both hands and opens it. The boy enters the place. It is a dark environment. Some footsteps approach and a person gives a wicked smile. Taeyang tries to hit this person with a punch, but he defends himself. The person says he has been waiting for Yun Taeyang. The young man questions who he is. That is Taeyang, the king of the fist, world champion of submissions with unbelievable records. In the control center, several people gather. Yun Taeyang has won again. People approach the capsule where Taeyang is. The boy takes a deep breath. He is the champion, the king of the fist. The stands are almost empty. Taeyang feels a bit empty and is ushered out by a curtain operator who needs to start the next game. At another moment in the city center, people move quickly. Taeyang walks with his phone in hand. Then he stops to try to call someone. He looks serious. Taeyang is trying to call his younger sister, but she doesn't answer. Taeyang wonders if this has anything to do with Dantalion. The virtual reality game Dantalion is an escape game in a fantastic maze with 99% synchronization between the virtual body and the real body. No matter how many times you try, the missions and levels never repeat. Dantalion's technology has revolutionized virtual reality games worldwide. With this, it has taken the top spot in fighting games. It is more eye-catching than the game King P. But even with many users playing that game, no one has managed to complete that place. Taeyang questions whether Dantalion is really that fun. A long time ago, an entire house caught fire. It was a building. Taeyang, still a child, held his sister while people screamed that someone was still inside. It was at that moment that he and his sister lost their parents. Taeyang never knew if he was enough to fill the place of their parents for his sister. Byeolrim got trapped in the virtual reality of the game. Even so, Taeyang believes that Byeolrim will overcome her sadness and open the door to her heart. Byeolrim is a strong child. Taeyang sends a message to Byeolrim saying that he won the championship. He then wonders if they should buy some food that Byeolrim likes that day. The boy continues walking the streets and a huge light blinds his vision. On the big screen, an urgent news report flashes. The virtual game Dantalion has already ended with 20 million people. Taeyang is confused by that information. The woman in the news says that the virtual reality game Dantalion has encountered a fatal error that is killing its users. The continents around the world are on high alert. Taeyang is shocked because Dantalion is a game that Byeolrim plays. The woman on the screen repeated that the game encountered a fatal error, that is leading everyone to death. Someone calls Taeyang and tells him to go to Byaoram's house as quickly as possible. Taeyang drops his trophy on the ground and runs to help his sister. At night, he breaks into her apartment with the girl. Inside the game capsule is Byaoram. Taeyang and the girl are panting. The girl looks at the computer and concludes that the capsule's signal is normal, so Byaoram is still safe. Taeyang takes a deep breath and sits down. The news says that the government has blocked the download of Dantalion. Even so, the game still has 300,000 players. In the news, the woman says that the CDO of the Dantalion game is dead and his partner is missing. The woman informs that it is not possible to force players out of the game. If a player wants to access Dantalion and dies in the game, they will die in real life. This is a system error in the game, so everyone must stop playing and evacuate to a safe place. The girl shows her phone to Taeyang and says that Dantalion viewers have reported information from outside to those inside. Inside the game, a player is desperate, saying he doesn't want to die. One of them, who's fighting against a giant creature, informs that he is on the 6th floor in case anyone is watching. Someone tells the players not to worry. He introduces himself as a messiah and says he will complete the game and save 300 million people. Taeyang gets agitated and asks if there is any way to get his sister out of there. The girl replies that the only way is to complete the game. In the rulebook of the Dantalion game, Rule 0 states that if a person completes all stages, they will be automatically removed from the game. The 0 rule had no meaning before the problem with the Dantalion game, but now that players can no longer exit, the story is different. The girl observes that there has been no announcement from the developers. Then she apologizes to Taeyang for saying that, but she knows that there are many ranks in that game and they can only wait for the game to be cleared. Taeyang says he heard that the highest record was floor 50. The boy takes a deep breath and says he will do it. The girl asks if Taeyang is crazy and says that no one has managed to beat the game. Taeyang says that's exactly why he needs to do it. Then he says he was the champion of King P 5 times, so no one is better than him at virtual reality games. The girl says that this is in the King P game, but Taeyang has never played Dantalion. Taeyang says he will be fine and tells Hyunhee that she is there. Hyunhee is a record holder in Dantalion who managed to reach floor number 38. She is a smart streamer. Moreover, she is Taeyang's childhood friend and someone who loves Byaoram almost as much as he does. Hyunhee takes a deep breath, looking down. Then she says it's okay as long as he opens his board box so she can help him. Seriously, Taeyang agrees and says he will finish Dantalion. The virtual reality capsule allows you to access games. It scans user information and their bodies and allows you to supply nutrients if you decide to stay in the game for a long time. The man who held Taeyang's hand introduces himself as a demon king who watches over the 1st to 3rd floors of Dantalion. He mocks Taeyang's punch. The boy observes that he used a lot of energy in that punch, but the demon managed to hold him with just one hand. The demon says he imagines Taeyang has many questions. He must want to know who the demon is and what kind of crimes the humans committed trapped in Dantalion, but he only has one thing to say. The man raises one hand and extends a finger. He is pointing upwards and says that all the answers are up there. He tells Taeyang that he must cross the dimensional maze and do his best. Soon, he will be injured and shedding tears of blood. The man says that maybe up there he will find what he is looking for. Taeyang becomes furious and curses the creature. Then he rushes at him quickly, ready to attack. But the demon remains unfazed. Before Taeyang can hit the man, Hyunhee steps in front of him. She asks the boy to calm down and says they cannot continue the game that way. The demon tells the MC to relax and snaps his fingers. Behind him, 3 enormous and shining doors appear. The demon says that Taeyang has managed to clear the 1st floor of the dimensional maze. Those 3 doors lead to the next floor and represent different paths, but they do not know which path is easier or harder. Confused, Taeyang asks Hyunhee what that means, and she says she didn't have time to explain the Dantalion system to him. Then Hyunhee says she will explain to the MC in the best way possible. She represents herself playing the game and winning. That game has 72 floors. It is a game where you need to reach the top to win. Dantalion lets you choose the door for each stage you pass, and these are the 3 doors. The blue light is for strength. You can move to the next floor with an increase in your body. The reinforcement effect is limited to this 2nd floor. Meanwhile, the green light is for recovery. You can heal from all those injuries from the previous floor to go to the next one. Finally, the yellow light is blessed with golden coins. If you pass through the next floor using the yellow door, you can earn golden coins as a reward. The golden coins are mysterious and can be used in shelters and establishments. By giving golden coins to a vendor, it is possible to buy equipment. This equipment provides a synergy effect. Then Hyunhee explains that the reason players do not choose the golden coin door is quite simple. If there is a game over on the next floor, no matter how much gold you have, it will be useless. And since you do not know what will come next, strength or healing are the best choices. The demon in front of him asks which door Taeyang will choose. The strength, healing, or golden coins. Hyunhee warns Taeyang that when he opens the door, he will have to deal with the next challenge. Then the boy starts to advance. He places his hand on the doorknob of one of the doors. All the viewers are very surprised because Taeyang chose the yellow door. Then Taeyang says it's a pretty simple decision. If there's no need for reinforcement or healing, the right choice is the door of golden coins. Then the boy crosses the door. The system appears behind him, informing that he has passed the first stage by facing the skeletons and has achieved 3 accomplishments. Hyeon is impressed with Taeyang's accomplishments, and the boy questions if that is a good thing. Hyeon complains that she explained this to him before and then asks him to open the status window. It shows that there are 3 accomplishments. Then Hyeon explains that in Dantalia, accomplishments are the most important things. The character's physical abilities increase as the number of accomplishments increases. Even though there isn't much difference between 1, 2, or 3, if the number accumulates to 10 or 20, there will be a significant discrepancy. Hyeon asks if Taeyang feels anything different, and the boy says he feels a bit brighter. Suddenly, something appears in front of him. It's a huge creature with dice in its hands. Taeyang asks what that is, and Hyeon explains that it's an NPC that will randomly determine the stage. The creature rolls the dice and opens its hand, revealing the values. One die reveals a labyrinth, and the other a key. Taeyang is confused by this, and the system informs him that he is entering the new stage. The boy suddenly finds himself in another place. There are several creatures trapped and screaming. The noise is unbearable, and Taeyang asks what place this is. Hyeon says they will calm down soon. Someone strikes the ground with a staff and commands everyone to be silent. It's a creature that says Taeyang is a prisoner. This is the labyrinth prison. The boy needs to find the key and open the door. The system activates a 30-minute timer, and the creature shouts to catch Taeyang. Hyeon holds onto the MC and says he should run first. The boy does so. All the trapped monsters around scream for Taeyang to free them and let them out. The strategy for the labyrinth stage is quite simple. They are dealing with the guards, so they must choose an NPC to distract them and free him. Then they should take the opportunity to find the keys and get out of there. The question remains which of those prisoners will cooperate with them. The creatures continue to scream desperately around them. Then Hyeon sees a woman trapped. The woman has her eyes closed. Hyeon concludes that it will be that person. Hyeon makes Taeyang stop and collect all the keys from the floor. To do this, he must free the prisoner. The boy observes and asks Hyeon if the prisoner is that one. The girl is trapped by her hands and kneeling. Taeyang collects all the keys from that floor and starts searching. He notices there are many keys. Meanwhile, Hyeon is agitated, wanting him to hurry. The prison guards appear and find Taeyang. Quickly, they start running towards the boy. Hyeon shouts to him that the enemies are approaching. One of the creatures screams that Taeyang is going to die and prepares to attack him. But just in time, the boy manages to find the key for that place. The woman inside opens her eyes. Taeyang wonders if it's too late. But suddenly something happens. The girl strikes the guard and protects Taeyang. She grabs the enemy's weapon with her hand and pierces him, finishing off the creature. Inside Dantalia, there are 2 types of NPCs, those from Fantasy and those from Eden. NPCs are the most important thing in this game, and they participate as a player. It's possible to choose whether you want to participate alongside the NPC or let them clear the labyrinth. The creatures are hit and fall to the ground bleeding. The girl who's free finishes them off. Then she takes the keys from her shackles and frees herself. The shackles fall to the ground and the girl stretches her wrist. Taeyang asks if Hyeon is sure that girl will cooperate with him. Then the woman kneels before him and introduces herself as the first knight of Tebas. She is the central commander of the knights and is named Akardi. Taeyang notices a figure behind Akardi. The woman thanks Taeyang for saving her and her little sister. The girl is also an NPC and is named Rudy. The boy doesn't even know what to say, and Hyeon comments that the child is very small. Hikari says that if they agree to take her and her sister, she plans to cooperate with him. Taeyang says he is leaving there at that moment and that if she wants, she can follow him. Rudy asks them to wait a bit and says they won't make it in time if they go that way. The girl says she knows a shortcut and asks them to follow her. The system window informs that NPC Rudy will guide them. Hyeon is indignant and questions whether there really is a shortcut there. She has never heard of it. Taeyang asks Hyeon if she already knew about that shortcut. Our hero and Akardi face more creatures. They take them all down. Hyeon tries to guide Taeyang in the game. The MC shouts for Rudy to go faster. Akardi's sister tells him to follow her down that path. Time is running out and Taeyang starts to panic, questioning where the exit is. Rudy says it's at the end of the hallway on the right. Desperately, the boy turns right when she tells him to. When he turns, he finds 3 giant creatures questioning what he wants. Fearful, Taeyang decides to leave, but Hyeon stops him. Akardi approaches and passes by Taeyang. Serious, the girl says she will handle this. The enemies rise to start fighting, but Akardi is confident. Then Akardi uses one of her abilities and raises her sword. With a quick and precise strike, she takes down all 3 at once. The enemies fall to the ground lifeless, and Akardi tells them to hurry up. The spectators are shocked that an NPC has abilities. Taeyang asks Hyeon what Akardi just did and says it was really cool. His friend says that unexpectedly, Akardi seems to have a unique ability. The addition of skill cards in the virtual reality game Dantalion was a success, with technology capable of recreating real-life skills and movements. The game features implemented abilities. Rudy shouts to Taeyang that the exit is over there. The girl puts her hands on the grate. The boy asks what's wrong, and she says it's locked with a triple lock, so it will take some time. Icardi and Taeyang look back because they heard a sound. Something ominous seems to be approaching. A giant foot steps on the body of one of the defeated enemies. It's a creature much larger than the previous ones and is furious that they are escaping. The monster shouts for them to surrender and says that if they do, maybe he will let them live. Icardi looks at the monster angrily. The creature says that if they are caught, he will treat them as he pleases. Icardi and Rudy become worried. Rudy's hands start to tremble a lot. Taeyang decides to talk to her. He tells her to unlock the door calmly and not to worry about them. Taeyang concludes by saying he will stop it. Nervous, Rudy agrees their time's almost up. Taeyang stands in front of the monster, and the creature says it heard about a rat in the prison. It tries to get our hero with a blow, but the boy dodges. The monster asks if the rat is the boy. The impact of the attack crushes the cells that were still intact. The monster runs after Taeyang, trying to hit him, but the boy dodges all the attacks. The creature begins to get furious. Taeyang observes that he is actually strong but is acting very foolishly. The move Icardi showed him was very different from this. The boy asks Hyeon if she thinks he is capable of doing that cool move. The girl tries to explain that it's not that easy. Taeyang says he knows it's not easy and learned many things in Hwaita. The most important thing to activate a skill is to maintain focus. The main focus has to be on the movements. Hyeon's impressed with the move Taeyang makes. That is a skill of King P, and he manages to unlock a skill in the game. That is the advanced Transcendental Cyclone. With it, Taeyang hits the enemy squarely. The creature screams in agony. Taeyang wonders if that worked. Hyeon says she can't believe it was so easy for him to acquire a skill. The enemy falls to the ground lifeless. The spectators go wild, impressed that Taeyang can use King P's technology in Dantalion. Rudy manages to unlock the door and shouts that it's open. Smaller creatures approach desperately upon seeing the larger one fallen on the ground. They then decide to chase Taeyang, but the boy picks Rudy up in his arms and runs. Time is almost up. There are 3 seconds left and they need to reach the door. The seconds tick down to the last moment. Taeyang, Icardi, and Rudy enter the place, passing through the door at high speed. The system announces that he has managed to pass that level. Moreover, he earned 3 achievements in gold coins. The boy observes that it was very close and Hyeon says he got 3 achievements, so he did well. Taeyang looks at Icardi and Rudy in front of him. Icardi approaches and thanks him. She says he saved her and her sister. She plans to repay him with her life. Hyeon explains to Taeyang that it is possible to clear a tower with an NPC he met at some stage. Rudy takes the MC's hand and the boy is astonished. The system informs that NPC Rudy is grateful to him and the girl thanks him. Taeyang remembers when his sister held his hand in that same way. She would tell them that she had a very fun day, and she would ask them to play again the next day. The young man observes that girl and concludes that he doesn't want her to go her own way, so he lets go of her hand. Taeyang tells them to separate at that moment, and the viewers are shocked that he refuses such a strong NPC. Icardi and Rudy leave. Hyeon says it would be interesting to have someone by his side and questions if Taeyang will be okay alone. The boy says he will be fine and asks them to hurry. Then they open a door and walk through it. Inside, he is startled and calls out to the person he sees. The woman asks how much longer Taeyang plans to stand in front of the door. She is the entangled queen named Aquanella. Aquanella asks if Taeyang isn't going to come closer, and the system informs that he needs to fulfill the queen's requests. Taeyang needs to satisfy the queen, and the viewers start to mock him. Hyeon is impressed by that stage of Aquanella. Then she says she has been at that stage before. It's a simple stage that you can pass by merely satisfying the queen's desires. The whole problem lies with Aquanella. She tends to find things boring and demands actions like having people fight each other. Aquanella is never satisfied. Hyeon reflects that no matter what they do, Aquanella is never satisfied and the final battle is inevitable. Taeyang clenches his fist and says that this is a waste of time. Then he asks if they can't just fight normally. Hyeon says that Aquanella is not a character meant to be faced. She is too strong to confront right on the 3rd floor. Taeyang reflects on that. He feels a very strong presence in that room, different from all the other floors. Moreover, he notices that something is hidden. Aquanella asks Taeyang how long he will stay standing in front of the door. Then she asks if Taeyang doesn't want to come in and get closer. The boy is serious and says there is something they can try. Hyeon asks what it would be. Smiling, he questions if Hyeon trusts him. Then he approaches Queen Aquanella. He kneels on the queen's bed and gets close to her, leaving Hyeon in shock. Taeyang is very serious and Aquanella questions if he is as fun as he seems. Hyeon doesn't know what to think and asks if that was Taeyang's plan. She shouts for him to come back as soon as possible. The young man gets closer to Aquanella. Hyeon screams that she will tell Beorim everything, and if he does anything strange, he will never see her again. Taeyang gets very close to Aquanella, almost kissing her. Then he makes a quick move. The MC grabs the queen by the neck and says that if the enemy takes one more step, she will lose her life. The viewers are incredulous, and so is Hyeon. They are confused. Taeyang says he already imagined that Aquanella was not the queen. She was actually the dog that always accompanied the girl. The system announces that this is Aquanella's true appearance, and her level is unknown. Hyeon asks how the MC knew that. Taeyang says he seemed very weak, but in reality, he is extremely strong. Moreover, when our hero got close enough to that girl, he found a tag that named her Boksunai. Hyan is left speechless. She's probably feeling jealous. The girl prepares to bite Taeyang's arm, but he says that if she makes any move, her head will explode. The girl hesitates. The dog Aquanella attacks Taeyang, and he delivers a powerful punch, but the young man manages to dodge, albeit with a scratch. He faces the enemy, and Aquanella has furious eyes. The girl starts to mumble something. She is talking to the giant dog, calling him Juin. The creature stops and stares at her. Taeyang tries to calculate the odds, but he doesn't know if that will work. The creature is right in front of them, and the young man stares at it. Then the giant dog turns back into a small puppy. It approaches and, with a trembling voice, asks Taeyang not to touch Boksunai. The boy asks if Aquanella will be satisfied if he lets the girl go. With a still trembling voice, the dog replies that yes. Crying, it says it will be very satisfied if Taeyang lets Boksunai live, and the system announces that he has managed to pass that level. Taeyang moves forward and goes through the next door. The boy observes that it was very dangerous, and if he had needed to fight, he would probably have died. He left Aquanella and Boksunai behind together. Hyan is angry and jealous. Suddenly, they hear a laugh. The creature says it hasn't laughed like that in a long time. It's the same guy from the doors who finds it funny how Taeyang satisfied Aquanella. Taeyang observes the man and becomes serious. He snaps his fingers. Then the system announces that he has managed to pass that level and earn 3 more achievements, along with 11 gold coins. The man speaks to the player Taeyang. He says that the boy managed to get through all 3 floors he prepared. By finishing those floors, Taeyang can move on to the next one. Hyan comments that this time there is only one door, and Taeyang asks the man if he can just go through the door. Then the man replies that yes, since there's only one, he doesn't need to worry and should proceed. The next floor is known as a sanctuary for players. There he will be able to meet various NPCs who will stay with him, as well as other players. Taeyang asks Hyan if she thinks Bioram will be there. The girl says there's a chance, but they should look first. The boy just wants his sister to stay strong because he plans to finish that tower as quickly as possible. Then he moves forward. He steps up and stops in front of the enormous door. Suddenly, a system window appears before him. Contacts of someone saying they could feel the battle and have never seen anything like it. Hyan explains that this is the report card, which is made by the person in charge of the floor. The Demon King evaluates how interesting the player is and his actions. That is the card that shows the Demon King's opinion. Hyan explains that there is a ranking from E to A, and if he receives a grade, he will earn 50 gold coins. After receiving the report from the Demon King, Taeyang manages to graduate to level S and receives 100 gold coins. Hyan is impressed that he managed to reach level S, and so are the viewers. In an establishment, a man approaches and asks what is happening. Another says that someone is taking the game card. The man is impressed that someone is crazy enough to take the game card on the 3rd floor. Taeyang places all of his coins on a counter and asks for the game card. The receptionist is left speechless. Everyone there is impressed and can't believe the boy is buying that. A woman descends some stairs and says she will guide Taeyang. She takes one of the coins in her hand. Then she says she will definitely accept those 100 gold coins. Her name is Let, and she is a sales NPC. Let turns her back to Taeyang. She fiddles with a bottle, and the furniture in front of her starts to change. The secret card shop is open. The people there are left speechless because they didn't think that would be in that location. Calmly, Let begins to handle the cards. She places the cards on the table. Then she asks Taeyang to turn the card face up. The boy looks back. Everyone is around him looking incredulously. Taeyang asks if he can do that somewhere else, but Let denies. Hyan observes that this is terrible. Humans let themselves be carried away by desire for things when they see them. The demons stimulate their desires. As a demonstration of their valuable treasures, those players will fight. She believes they will give their lives for that. Taeyang takes a deep breath. Then he flips the cards, receiving a rare martial artist equipment that increases his agility. The people around are incredulous that he managed to get a rare card and start to get agitated. Hyan is impressed and says that the chance of getting a rare card is only 5%. The viewers are agitated too. The rankings of the cards in Dantalia are normal, uncommon, rare, unique, and legendary. The rare one has 3 abilities and a rare level equipment. The viewers start to express their opinions and become very nervous. Taeyang asks them to be quiet for a moment. One of them says that the MC should equip the rare martial artist item and acquire the sacred synergy. The boy notes that Dantalia has a synergy system. Additional synergy effects are associated with all equipment and skill cards. If you accumulate them, you can evolve. The more synergy of the same type you accumulate, the better the effect. Then Taeyang decides to take the rare martial artist equipment, which increases his agility, strength, and holiness. The seller Let asks if he is sure, and our hero confirms. Then she hands the card to Taeyang. The system asks if the boy wishes to equip that equipment, and he replies yes. A huge light emanates. The system informs that he is equipped with that rare belt that shines at his waist. Everyone is impressed. Taeyang looks back and sees the people sitting at the tables watching him with malicious eyes. The hero observes that the people there seem rebellious, and Hyan says that at least it's not possible to fight in that place. Taeyang notes that it will be painful to start the next day as he enters the lodging. As expected, there is no special treatment there. The boy says that Hyeon should rest. She asks if he is tired and tells him to take the opportunity to relax. The viewers ask him not to turn off, but he selects that he has completed the acquisition of tags. He lies down on the bed, exhausted. Even within the game, one needs to sleep. Taeyang has a nightmare and remembers the day he was with his sister when the house caught fire. On that day, his mother was trapped inside the building and his father decided to go after her. Taeyang begged him not to go. The man looked at him in silence. Then he placed his hand on the little boy's head. He crouched in front of his son and said that he trusted him and that he should take care of Byorum. After that, his father ran into the building. Taeyang wakes up startled. He is panting and very tense. That nightmare was definitely terrible. Taeyang observes that this game is more realistic than his dreams. Hyeon enters the game. He leaves the lodging and Hyeon asks how he is. The young man replies that he is fine. He descends the stairs in silence. When he reaches the bottom, he is surprised. There are several people wanting to join him. They already have an archer and a healer. With the hero, the team will be complete. Taeyang asks what that is and Hyeon replies that it is possible to recruit NPCs to help him in the stages. If his status is good, he has a better chance of recruiting. The boy turns his back and says he will not recruit anyone. The viewers comment that this is better than being stabbed in the back eventually. He mentions that he cannot trust anyone, so he intends to move forward without any partners. Hyeon agrees. The boy stops in front of the door. Everyone is watching. People run towards Taeyang. They want to go through the door with him and follow him. The door opens, and it is possible to enter the 4th floor. Upon entering, you emerge in a place with a blue sky and birds. Taeyang is there, and several people have followed him. The boy asks if the 4th floor is a forest. Everyone there is startled by something. It is a person approaching. The people turn to her, frightened. Hyeon explains that she is the demon lord who controls things from the 4th to the 6th floor. Her name is Andromalius. The woman looks at them with great disdain. She says that what they need to do in that forest is very simple. They just need to find rare items. Andromalius says they must collect 3 for the mission. Andromalius states that they need to find the bozos. The people are confused by that. Then they start asking if that is the only explanation she has to give and question what a bozo is. Angrily, one of the people shouts at Andromalius and says that if she doesn't explain what she wants, they won't go looking. Andromalius looks at that person seriously and then sends a snake at him. The snake destroys the man. The girl next to him starts to get nervous and wonders what is happening. Andromalius sits on the enormous snake that is there. Then she asks if anyone else wants to make a complaint. No one has the courage to say anything more. Then Andromalius says that if they have no more complaints, they should move on because staying there doing nothing is very boring. Andromalius opens the 3 doors. Andromalius says it is very simple. If they collect 3 bozos and bring them to her, then they can pass through the door. But of course it is better if they bring more than 3. The people say that at least she should tell them how to do that and where they should go. Taeyang wonders if that game starts without any kind of tutorial. Hyeon nudges the boy and says that all he will have to do is listen to her. Taeyang moves forward into the forest. Unlike the NPCs participating in the game without any information, thanks to the nature of the game Dantalion, players who have made that type of journey hundreds of thousands of times share information about the stages. This way, it is possible to know how to get through the game, and in this sense, Taeyang has an advantage. Hyeon guides him. The mission is to find the bozos hidden in the forest and bring them to Andromalius, who is in a clearing right in the center. These bozos can be hidden throughout the forest, among the trees, buried in the ground, and the more powerful the creature or the taller the tree, the greater the chance of finding them. The important thing is to move quickly. The number of bozos decreases practically over time. Thus, they begin to kill each other to steal the bozos. Taeyang agrees that it's better to find everything before that place becomes too dangerous. The viewers wonder what he is doing going deeper into the forest. Taeyang stops in front of a huge tree. He asks Hyeon if that is the largest tree in the area and the girl agrees. Someone donates 10,000 won and informs that there is a snake 20 meters below the ground, near the roots of the tree. Hyeon observes that this is very good information. If they find clues around, they might locate the entrance to the snake's den. Hyeon says she will conduct a search. Taeyang reflects on the fact that it is below ground and that this type of underground activity is possible. Then he lifts his foot. Worried, Hyeon asks what he is planning to do. The boy strikes the ground hard, causing it to break beneath his feet. He falls underground. Hyeon asks if the MC also has that kind of ability. Taeyang says it is not necessarily an ability, but a change in the stage of the game system he used to play. That should work in that game too. Just break the ground to descend to the lower stage. Hyeon observes that since Taeyang is strong, he doesn't even need to use his brain. They land underground. The viewers are impressed by the size of that den and comment that they have never been there before. Hyeon says there are no living creatures inside that tunnel. That entire area belongs to a single snake. Hyeon reflects that the more powerful the life form and the harder it is to reach the location, the greater the chance of finding a clue. Hyeon notes that the boss monster of that stage is the giant snake that lives in that tunnel. Its name is Arkachin. Hyan comments that Arkachin does not move during the day, so this is their chance. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise. People land beside them. One of the members of that group says that Taeyang found a beautiful place. Those people seem to be following the boy. Hyan observes that those people have been behind them since early on. The MC says she took a while to realize the situation is starting to get complicated. Something scares Taeyang. Upon looking closely, those people seem strange, as if they were zombies. Hyan is shocked as well. Then she screams to Taeyang that this is mind control magic. One person laughs, mocking him for calling his power mind control. Then he says it is natural for humans to follow the one who is stronger. The man is using an artifact, the tentacle sword, that can control people with magic. Hyan bangs on the table and questions how that man can have that artifact if he is only on the 4th floor. She thinks it could be a fraud. The man points his weapon at Taeyang. He says that if the boy hands over his rare card, at least he will spare his life. But Taeyang mocks him because he has no interest in giving him his card. Angry at seeing that Taeyang will not hand over his card, the man orders his minions to advance. They try to hit the boy with various attacks, but the boy manages to dodge. Taeyang reflects that he can win and has no reason to lose. He has achieved 3 accomplishments at the same level, which means he has grown a lot. The difference is like that between a child and an adult. Our hero retaliates against the attacks. He knocks the enemies to the ground. Watching this, the man starts to laugh and says he thought Taeyang was just a lucky boy who got a good card. But it seems he is much stronger than he thought. Hyan is worried about that man. It seems he is being enhanced by the power of the magical artifact he possesses. He has obtained a weapon that does not match his level. The man raises the sword above his head and shouts that Taeyang is challenging him. Hyan screams for him to be careful because if he is touched, his mind will be controlled. At that moment, he has no defense against the magic, so a single blow is enough. The man launches the tentacles toward Taeyang. The boy manages to dodge the attack, but that came very close. The man asks where the MC thinks he is going to run away while the boy dodges his attacks. Then the man asks if Taeyang does not want to feel his power. He launches one of the tentacles toward one of his slaves. The zombie is hit in the head. Quickly, he is consumed by the tentacles and begins to take on a strange form. Filled with rage, the zombie tries to attack Taeyang. Once again, the MC manages to dodge, but that zombie does not give up trying to attack the MC. The boy looks filled with fury. The minion seems soulless, and the man is just standing there. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble and give way. Hyan is startled by this. Then she screams to Taeyang that they need to get out of that cave right now. The boy starts to run. He jumps onto the rocks to escape that hole while people fall. The man tries to chase Taeyang. As he attempts to climb to the surface, he is hit by a rock fragment that pierces his chest. In that situation, he drops the artifact and ends up feeling consumed. Taeyang holds onto a rock and looks down. Injured, the man is hanging from a rock and calls for help. He begs the MC to save him. Hyan asks what Taeyang is doing and shouts that he needs to get out of there as soon as possible. The boy sighs and then extends his hand to the man. The man is startled because he didn't expect that. Then he thanks the hero. He holds his hand while his magical artifact flies behind him. Thanks to the power of the artifact, the man stops in shock. He can't hold on and falls. The man sinks into the darkness while screaming until he disappears. Suddenly, he is swallowed by a gigantic creature. From below, something very frightening emerges. Taeyang wonders what that is. A snake passes by him quickly. Taeyang realizes it is a Kashin. He is standing still looking up at that enormous creature. Hyan is exhausted. She says she thought she was going to die, then asks if Taeyang is okay. The MC looks at his own hand and comments that this game makes him feel rotten. Hyan questions what he is talking about, but the boy says it's nothing and tells him to go. After all, they came there for a reason. In summary, Kashin kills those who challenge him and displays their bodies in his home, so when you search for bodies, you find a treasure chest. In other words, without Akashin, the snake's home is just a treasure cave. Taeyang starts to collect the remains of the monster bodies that are there. In the end, he managed to get 13 remains. One remains is considered a great find, but Andromelia said that the more he collects, the stronger he can become. In other words, the more remains you have, the stronger you get. The MC reflects on how useful this is. Taeyang wonders if they should go deeper and enter that hidden place. They continue to advance. At that moment, what they need most is one thing. The boy needs defense against magic. A noise startles the boy. That way he can withstand magic attacks. In front of them, there is a shining figure. It is a Kashin's skin, which maintains its magic resistance effect above 50%. Hyan comments that she has never seen such a large Akashin skin before. The boy asks if just wearing that will give him defense against magic. Then, Taeyang puts on that skin like a cloak. Quickly, it adheres to his body and the system informs him that the new item is being equipped. The magic defense is established. Meanwhile, in the forest, there is a lot of blood. The enormous snake is destroying everyone it encounters along the way. It devours and massacres. Its eyes are cruel, and its methods even more so. One by one, the snake attacks the people nearby. It seems insatiable. Meanwhile, inside it, deep down is the magical weapon, the mind-controlling sword. It is what is making the snake increasingly aggressive. The image of Taeyang comes to the snake's mind. Then the sword concludes that it is him it needs to go after. Controlling the snake's mind, the sword says it needs to eliminate Taeyang. In the middle of the forest, rabbits take advantage of the remains of people. Suddenly, a noise startles them, and they run away. Someone approaches. It is Taeyang. Hyan asks if he is feeling anything different, but the boy says he is not sure. He comments that he would like to check the effect of that equipment. Then he hears a noise that catches his attention. It is a group of young people looking for the magical items that Andromalius requested. A boy from the group says that the girl doesn't need to worry. The girl is with several boys who ask her how old she is. Hyan wonders what is happening, and Taeyang says they will soon find out. Suddenly, something catches the attention of one of the boys in the group. A huge shadow passes over them. The girl is grabbed by the claws of a massive killer eagle. The evil screams to the other members of the group. The people are terrified. That is Gishu Stan, a monster that fights unilaterally. Hyan comments to Taeyang that Stan has the unique ability to attack annoying people. This monster loves to chase people. The boys in the group ask if the girl is okay, but she's being crushed by the creature's foot. The monster makes a loud noise, and its wings begin to sharpen like blades. As an attack, she begins to launch several sharp blades towards the group. One of the boys is hit. He falls to the ground injured. Another member tells them to run away while they can and leave anyone who stays behind to die. Then Taeyang approaches and says they shouldn't give up so easily on the girl and the boy who are there. Our hero crouches down and gathers all the power he can into his legs. Then he makes a super jump towards the creature. Not even the monster expected that attack. Taeyang lands right on top of the monster and then starts descending towards it at high speed. The impact is very strong and causes an explosion. The creature writhes in agony. Then it releases the girl. Its sharpened wings begin to tremble. Then the monster launches several sharp objects towards Taeyang. The boy defends himself with his arms. The creature continues trying to attack him, and Hyan asks where the boy is trying to go. Taeyang says he is going to teach that noisy bird a lesson. His attacks are so fast that you can hear the sound they make. Hyan is outraged by him and his goals. The boy joins his hands and tells the creature to be quiet. Then he attacks the bird and shouts that it is stupid. Taeyang is happy to have landed the hit, but Hyan is uncomfortable. The girl asks what is wrong with him. The boy questions if he ended up hitting the bird too hard. The creature begins to become increasingly terrified of Taeyang. Then the boy hits the bird again. In pain, the creature decides to fly away, but Taeyang is stuck to it. Desperate, the bird flies far away. Hyan is incredulous. The MC is hanging on the bird. The girl that was attacked by the monster comments that she needs to thank Taeyang. She wonders where the boy went. Elsewhere in the forest, a knight clicks his tongue in indignation and says that this is not good. Several people look at him with expressions of disappointment and anger. He asks why everyone they return empty-handed and without collecting any bozos. One of them says that the Akashan snake, which is difficult to eliminate, changed shape suddenly, and since they didn't want to die, they ended up fleeing. One of the boys points at Andromalius and says that evil is sitting right there and that place should be safe. Andromalius yawns, bored with that group. The knight there begins to think that this is not good at all. Many of them fled in fear of Akashan and ended up changing their plan to attack those players who were providing support like him. The knight is tense and reflective. He wonders if, in that forest of evil spirits, anyone will be able to collect bozos. Everyone there has a look of fury, just waiting. The knight concludes that if no one appears with the bozos at that moment, that place will become a sea of blood. Taeyang comments that he didn't expect them to get this far, but Hyan tries to console him by saying that at least he managed to get 5 more bozos. He comments that he didn't imagine he would find bozos instead of eggs in that nest. The boy mentions that besides that, he got something useful. They are the evil's feathers, sharp as blades, and can be used as weapons. Looking at the creature curled up in the corner, Taeyang comments that he feels sorry for it. The boy wonders if that bird can lay eggs. Then the boy climbs down from the tree and the nest. Upon landing on the ground, he remains calm. Hyan comments that the forest is very quiet. Taeyang says that there are no beasts, birds, or even an insect. In fact, he hasn't seen any creature at all. Suddenly, the boy hears something and crouches behind a rock, and Hyan asks what happened. He replies that something is approaching. A thunderous noise echoes through the dark forest. A creature with paws and huge claws approaches. It is a vanguard tiger named Mazu, and is the second strongest monster in the forest. It tears apart its enemies with swift movements. Hyan asks if Taeyang was referring to that old tiger, but he replies that he is not. It is not that kind of energy he is feeling. It is something much greater. Suddenly, something strikes the tiger, ending it. It is the snake that grabbed the feline by its body with its mouth. The snake finishes off the tiger in a swift movement with its mouth. Hyan is horrified by this and comments that Akashan was not like that. The snake begins to smell something and with a sinister voice says, "Is this smell of humans?" Furious, Akashan screams that it has finally found Taeyang. The snake tries to attack the boy, but he dodges. The MC wonders what is happening with that snake. It seems very different from how it was before. The place where the snake struck is left with a crater, and it prepares to attack again. Once again, Taeyang dodges. Then he strikes the creature with a kick, but his attack has no impact whatsoever. Taeyang wonders how that didn't cause any damage to the serpent. Then it hits the boy off guard, throwing him against a tree. The impact is so strong that the tree breaks. The young man observes that this movement is not that of a snake. It seems more like he is dealing with a human being. The snake begins to laugh in a sinister way. Then it asks Taeyang if he knows how long it has been searching for him. Startled, Hyan says that Aksharan doesn't have the intelligence to speak. The serpent is all deformed and bizarre and says that now the boy will meet his end. He is trapped. The MC is shocked to hear that voice and recognizes it. It is the same voice of the man from earlier whom he tried to save. The snake quickly approaches and says it will end Taeyang with a single bite. The boy jumps away trying to dodge the attack. Taeyang wonders if the sword that the snake swallowed earlier has possessed it. If you use a snake's body with human intelligence, you could attack like that. When dealing with a monster like that, it's wise to be cautious. The snake screams that the MC is fleeing like a rat. Hyan urges Taeyang to get out of there. Something bizarre shoots from the snake's mouth towards the boy. It is a pink liquid that corrodes surfaces upon contact. Hyan becomes desperate for her friend. Drops of that pink liquid fall on Taeyang's back. The creature says that it is a poisoned acid that corrodes everything, even bones, and then asks if it is painful for the boy. Then it says that if it hurts, it will end the pain soon. The serpent grabs Taeyang. It wraps him with its tail. Then it begins to squeeze tightly, crushing the boy. Our hero can barely breathe. The serpent asks if Taeyang can imagine how many people it had to eat to get there. Then the monster screams that it has eaten 20 people, and with each new person it consumed, it became stronger. But Taeyang's brain is different, and has no idea what it will taste like. The serpent opens a monstrous mouth full of teeth and says it is curious to taste the boy. A bizarre, slimy tongue moves towards the boy, and the creature says it will take everything from his brain. The boy takes one of the bird's feathers from his shirt sleeve, and says that the serpent has a very long tongue. In a swift motion, Taeyang rips the creature's tongue out. The snake writhes in agony. Thanks to the impact, it releases the MC. The boy says that he is resistant to Aksharan's poison. He can plan to be merciful, but the snake didn't help. Taeyang says that when you are dealing with someone so much bigger than you need to take them down. In a quick movement, the boy pierces the creature with that sharp blade, saying that this is just the basic lesson. The blade pierces the snake's eye. The snake screams and Taeyang jumps away from it. Well, then he says he will use the same power he used to break the ground earlier. The snake becomes very afraid. The hero says he doesn't know if this will work on that creature. Even so, he charges forward at high speed. With a single impact, he strikes the snake. The attack is so strong that the creature falls to the ground. Well, it disintegrates into pieces. The sword that was dominating its brain and controlling it comes out of it. Taeyang steps on the sword, which allows him to wait a moment because it is still not late enough. The sword asks if he doesn't want to become stronger by using it, but the boy says he doesn't need that. With a single step, he breaks the entire sword. The MC looks at the serpent lying on the ground, split in half, and reflects that this creature can't even be eaten. Hyan comments that the boy seems to be very hungry. The boy says that Hyan should eat too. After all, Dantalian's characters also need to eat. The day begins to set. Andromalius caresses her snake. She talks to the creature as if they were intimate. She asks if the snake is dealing with that boy alone. A loud crash comes from the forest, startling the people there. They wonder what is on the other side. The sound is of a snake. That can only mean someone is fighting against the snake. One of them says he will go there right now and asks who will go with him. Some agree to go along. Then they run into the forest. The two people who didn't stay are scared. Suddenly, someone comes spinning out of the forest. It's Taeyang approaching through the shadows. The knight wonders if that is the guy who was collecting the bozos. Taeyang's face is covered in blood. One of the guys says it doesn't matter what kind of person he is. While he is determined to take down Taeyang, everyone there starts moving towards the MC. The boy raises a bozo in front of everyone. Then he asks if that's what they were talking about. People are shocked that he actually has that thing. In a dark manner, Taeyang says he will give that bozo to them. Then he throws the bozo far away and tells them to go fetch it. The bozo hits one person's face squarely. It then falls into the hands of a girl. But before she could grab it, Taeyang directs it and hits. The group shouts to attack together. But Taeyang doesn't seem shaken by that. He attacks one by one with his kicks, defeating them. The spectators cheer for the hero as he takes down all those people. Usually, the number of player achievements on the 4th floor is 4. On the other hand, Taeyang has an even greater number of achievements, and with the bozos, he reaches a total of 27. His level compared to the others is like comparing an adult to a child. People start getting beaten and questioning what kind of creature Taeyang is. One of them casts an ice storm. Even so, the boy remains serious and calm. The ice storm hits Taeyang directly. But when the smoke clears, nothing happened. Taeyang's gaze fills with hatred. He protected himself with his arms and is unharmed. A man runs out worried because the magical attack doesn't work on the MC. Another questions how he can be so strong. Then the boy launches the sharp feathers from the bird he caught at the remaining men. Both are hit from behind. Now everyone is lying on the ground. After all this, the bozo returns to Taeyang's hand. Mocking, the boy asks if he didn't say they could take the bozo from his hand. The knight observes that Taeyang was able to take down all of them in just 30 seconds. Smiling, the boy asks if anyone there still wants to try to grab the bozo. The two fall silent, looking around. Then they look at each other tense. One of them then says they can try next time. Maybe this isn't the ideal moment. The other agrees. The boy says if they don't want to try, then he will go first. Taeyang stands before many people. All of them are envious and angry, and behind these men is Andromalius. Smiling, Andromalius says he probably went through a very complicated situation. The boy gets angry because it seems she knew everything from the beginning. Andromalius asks Taeyang to feed his snake with the bozos. The creature opens its mouth for the boy. The boy approaches and extends those magical balls, placing them inside the monster's mouth. Andromalius becomes tense. She wonders how many bozos Taeyang managed to collect. The bozos pile up, even falling out of the snake's mouth. After finishing the count, Andromalius concludes that it was 18. She snaps her fingers and says that is a very good count. The system informs that he has completed that mission. As a reward, he receives 6 different achievements, and now has a total of 15 achievements. Andromalius approaches him and says she has something for him for bringing so much entertainment. The woman extends a card to him. Smiling, Andromalius says that is a reward. Taeyang asks if that is really a card. It's not just a card, it's a regeneration power card that grants the regeneration power of the snake Aksharan for 3 seconds. Now Taeyang's character is even more enhanced. A light appears around the boy, leaving him startled. He doesn't know what that means. Then he realizes he can now use whatever he wants. A clock tower is illuminated at night. Someone runs quickly in his direction. Signs on the walls indicate numbers. The person in the red hood says they were told the exit was in block 14-3C. The ground suddenly starts to break. A large hand emerges from it and grabs the person's leg. The giant man holds her and says the exit is in block 14-3C. The giant man asks where that person is going in such a hurry. She screams for him to let her go. Then she tries to hit the giant man with magic, but that causes no damage, and he questions how that little creature dares to try to defeat him. He says he can use that person to have a little fun, and he says that mocking him is something unforgivable. The giant man is about to hit the boy with a punch, but suddenly, he is hit in the face by Taeyang. The kick from the MC is imprinted on your bald head. Taeyang lands on the ground. The giant man is fallen and unconscious, drained of energy. Hyeon says she was surprised by how the door opened in mid-air and mentions that she told the MC not to kick anything. The system informs that a new player has entered the stage. That is the path of death, and he needs to eliminate 3 blue cards to escape. The player Taeyang is red, he hasn't hit any targets yet, and there are 36 players remaining. A woman smiles and says that finally a new person has entered. Another person asks if she should take him out first or lead him there first, but that isn't truly important to them. In the darkness, a person or creature says that eliminating all the humans they can is what matters. The woman asks what they should do if he is strong. The seated creature has a tiger's mouth and asks if that was a joke. Taeyang asks if that red thing is like a mark that defines who attacks and who defends. Red means attacker and blue means defense. Since he is red, he needs to find 3 blue targets and then a way to get out of there. The man confirms. The boy observes that there is nothing on that man's bald head. Inside, he thinks the boy is a bastard. Taeyang watches the situation for a moment. Then he says he doesn't have time to waste and asks what the busiest place is from there. The man wonders if that boy is trying to hunt at that moment, as soon as he entered the stage. Our hero asks why the man is stalling and tells him to go answer. The man says it will be difficult to find someone on the road of death at that moment. Everyone is trying to hide to avoid being hunted. Taeyang asks who. The man replies that they are beast men. At first there were 4 creatures, but one hasn't been seen in days. He probably went to the next stage. The ones that remain are hunting players for entertainment. Hyeon is confused by the idea of beast men. Superior race creatures with characteristics of both animals and humans, and a special species that only exists in Eden. In fact, there are very few of them around. This happens because humans dislike anything that seems different, so these creatures are discriminated against. Of course, there is enslavement in Eden. It was a civilization focused only on people with higher levels, and hunting human beasts was like entertainment. With the goal of survival, human beasts rejected humans and developed their own martial arts. Hyeon remembers that when you hear rumors about human beasts that are not slaves, it's best to leave immediately. Taeyang observes that it wouldn't be nice if he took out that man at that moment. Then he tells the man to go away, and he is grateful. As the man is running, Taeyang calls out to him and says he heard that acquiring things is important for that stage, so the man should give up everything he has. The man gets stressed, but he has no choice, so he agrees. He hands over all his potions and items to Taeyang. The boy asks where he got hair lotion. Well, suddenly something catches his attention. He had forgotten that there was another person there, so he says that since the hunt is over, he needs to find a way out of there, so he should go on his way. That person is nervous. Suddenly, Hyeon is startled. Taeyang asks what is wrong, and Hyeon says that player looks a lot like Byeolrum's character in the game. The child looks at Taeyang scared. The boy stares back at her, concerned. The child starts to say something tense. Then she says she almost died and thanks the boy for saving her life. The boy says it was nothing and tells the child to get out of there before she becomes a target. The child talks about Taeyang's hands. He extends his hand and she places something there. She tells him to be careful of the beast men. Then she runs away. Hyeon tells him to go too. Taeyang sees that the girl gave him a vial of medicine. He reflects on the beastmen. Meanwhile, the child runs as fast as she can, as far away as possible. She tries to reach door 14 to 3C. Excited, she says she finally found a way out of there. But before she can cross the door, something surprises her. It's the big man who is there spying. She asks what he is doing there, and if he isn't going to give up on chasing her. The man has a deep, empty look. Suddenly, a hand reaches forward. She is holding just the head of that man. The beast woman approaches and says that someone is hiding very well there. But it is a relief to get rid of that man because he was very rude. So he ended up annihilating him before he could say anything. A foolish man approaches and tells the girl to start revealing the player's location and where she saw him recently. The girl reflects that she cannot tell them that, and even if she did, they would end her right after. One of the creatures says that she is very loyal for a human, but that doesn't matter. The smell of that boy on her body must be enough. He approaches the girl who is trembling with fear. Then he says that the hunt is just beginning. The girl in the red hood is lying on the ground and seems to have no more life. She appears on a big screen in a place that looks like a cinema. Andromalius says that Mute, the beast tiger, is the most interesting to watch at that moment. A woman says that at the lower levels, the beast humans are the most interesting. When you go up, cooperation starts to become mandatory and everyone sees their limitations. She says that the beast man has no intention of joining forces with players of other races. Even so, she thinks that Andromalius is wrong about him. The beast man does not belong to the dimensional maze. The woman asks if Dantalion does not agree. The man is sitting at the back of the hall. He says that at least they made the first boring part good to watch, which is interesting. He wonders where everyone will be at that point. Andromalius suggests that they make a bet. Each demon lord chooses a player and challenges him to fight. A reward is given to the player who wins. The girl with light hair asks what the conditions would be, the ranking or number of achievements. The man suggests that it should be a mano-a-mano battle to see who is really strong. As for the reward, maybe they should explore the skill cards. Andromalius agrees and tells them to do that. The woman with white hair says that then she will bet on Mute the tiger. After all, in terms of skills and levels, he is probably the strongest below the 5th floor. Andromalius says that he will also bet on a beast, the wolf beast, Balkar. If he leads to a fight with a fatal ending, only the stronger side will survive. The man reflects that the two decided to bet on beasts. Andromalius is curious about the choice that Dantalion will make. After all, the only beast left was Eren, the fox. To their surprise, Dantalion bets on Taeyang. The women are in shock. Indignant, the woman with white hair says that the limit for Earth players is floor 45. Above that, they become very mediocre. They are just a dumb species. Andromalius reflects that Taeyang really has very good skills for the 4th level, but he cannot be compared even remotely to the skills of a beast man. Smiling, Dantalion says that he is quite confident. Belia lies back in the chair, unable to believe it. Smiling, Andromalius questions what Dantalion is up to this time. The three return to watching. Only then will they be able to find out who has the sharper eye. Taeyang opens a drawer looking for something, but he doesn't find it. Then he opens several others, rummages through trash, breaks things, but he doesn't find what he's looking for. He has looked everywhere he could imagine, but found nothing. It is already night, and he doesn't know where the key is. Hyan says that they need to search a little more because they must find that key. Only then will he be able to climb to the top of the clock tower. The tower is illuminated at night. Taeyang reflects that Hyan said there is an item there that cannot be ignored, an important artifact. The boy is starting to lose hope regarding that key that doesn't appear. He wonders if it will really be inside a drawer. Hyan approaches and asks if that drawer is closed. There shouldn't be any locked drawers in that place. The MC observes carefully and concludes that it is not quite that. Inside the drawer, something seems to move. The furniture shakes. Suddenly, it is as if the furniture had life and was sweating cold. Taeyang then tries to hit the furniture, but it runs away. Hyan is shocked. That is a mimic. They are monsters that imitate items or boxes containing objects inside. Meanwhile, far from there, Balkar smells him. He identifies where it is coming from and tells them to go a specific way. They end up arriving in an old, dilapidated building. Without ceremony, Balkar kicks the door, and they invade the space. Inside, everything is turned upside down, but is empty. Confused, Balkar says that Taeyang is moving very quickly, and he wonders what the boy is trying to achieve. Eren says that this is very strange because the boy shouldn't know that he was supposed to go to the factory. After all, they burn all the maps except for their own. Eren points to a factory of the map. She says that there are now 3 factories left in Sector D. Balkar says that they will find him. Eren smirks, and the tiger Mute says that this is great for entertainment. The 3 leave in search of him. A key spins in the air, and Taeyang catches it with his hand. He is excited because he finally got the key to the clock tower. Moreover, the mine was already experienced. This was almost as quick as Akashin. Hyan tells him to hurry because it's almost time. The bell starts to toll out of nowhere. An announcement says it's time to change shifts. Blue and red markers will be above the player Taeyang. He feels nervous and confused about having both markers. Suddenly, Balkar appears before him. Hyan is shocked, and the boy confirms that it seems they are going to face some turbulence. Excited to find Taeyang, Balcar opens a cruel smile. He says that in the end, the luck of the beast man is on his side. Taeyang and Balcar stand facing each other. The boy has both the red and blue markers above his head at the same time. Player Balcar also receives both markers. Hyen is shocked that both are marked that way. It seems like the game is clearly trying to tell them to attack each other. Taeyang says he heard that those creatures have been on that floor for some time. Then he asks if Balcar has seen a player named Byalrim. The creature starts to smile. Then it says that it has already annihilated many humans, and that it can't remember. Taeyang's eyes begin to fill with rage. Balcar asks if the boy has any last words he would like to say before he dies. Then, since the MC doesn't say anything, he prepares to draw his weapon. He quickly lunges at Taeyang. The boy is caught off guard by that sudden attack. A red liquid flies out, but in the end, it's just tomato sauce. Taeyang used a can of tomato sauce to try to defend himself from Balcar. The man says he was planning to hit his heart, but he is quite fast for a human. The boy is impressed. Balcar's attacks are very sharp and quick. Moreover, the strike of his sword resembles a wolf's bite. The creature asks if Taeyang thinks he will be able to escape. The boy needs to prepare for that fight. Then he defends against Balcar's sword. His goal is to break that sword above all else. The weapon flies far away. Only a piece of it remains in Balcar's hand. The wolf becomes furious because the boy managed to break his sword in half with just his hand. Taeyang uses a chain as a weapon and prepares to strike Balcar. The wolf smiles when he notices that the factory has several chains. Balcar says that for beasts, weapons are just a facade. Then he launches an attack at Taeyang using his own hand. A blue light flies toward the MC and he tries to defend himself with the chain. But that attack is more powerful and faster, and it ends up cutting the side of our hero. The MC complains of pain. Smiling psychotically, Balcar says he will finish Taeyang once and for all. But without him noticing, his arm is wrapped in chains. He is pulled forward suddenly. Then he flies toward Taeyang, who is ready to receive him. The boy shouts that he was waiting for him to get closer. Then he stretches the chain and throws it toward Balcar. When the wolf gets close enough, he uses his powerful punch. He hits Balcar squarely with a strong attack. The enemy is stunned and ends up flying far away from the impact. Chained against the wall, Balcar is downcast and injured. He is panting. Taeyang watches from a distance. The MC notices that his power is different from before. Suddenly, a pink flame appears. Taeyang is confused. Several flames appear around him. A huge explosion occurs. From a distance, Erin starts laughing. The woman says it seems that Balcar can't do anything on his own without her help. Then she asks if Balcar missed her. Then Erin mocks Balcar, saying that he couldn't even handle a mere human. The man replies that he just let his guard down a bit. Taeyang comments that it's already hard enough to fight against one, so against two, it's almost impossible. Hyen agrees and says that Beast is a very powerful mage. Erin is impressed that she attacked the MC with her foxfire and he is still alive. Maybe he is a bit stronger than the other humans. Then she uses another spell and says she wants to see if Taeyang will survive this time as well. She raises her 2 fingers to the sky and invokes the fox's magical ability. A pink circle forms in the sky around the waning moon, enveloping the celestial body and making the moon appear full. Erin says it has been a while since Balcar showed his true colors to a human. Balcar is panting and angry, and his eyes begin to turn more reddish. Using all of his strength, he manages to break free from the chains. Then he stops in front of Taeyang. Thanks to the full moon, Balcar has turned into a wolf. He howls, showcasing all his power, and then Rosna turns to our hero. Erin speaks to Balcar. She commands him to tear Taeyang into pieces, and Balcar charges forward in a fury towards our hero. Balcar is heading towards Taeyang. He extends his clawed paw to attack the boy. Even so, the hero manages to be faster and dodges the blow. He questions the fox's magic and wonders why Balcar's speed and strength have increased, not knowing what to do in this situation. Suddenly, pink flames fly towards Taeyang. Another explosion occurs. Erin asks if Taeyang is thinking about something regarding her. The pink flame is before him and he is nervous, not knowing what to do in that situation. There is no time for him to do anything. Taeyang wonders what kind of strategy he should use. Then he is startled to notice the full moon. Now that he has started to think clearly, that moon seems to have something to it. Erin asks if the boy is still thinking. Then she commands Balcar to attack the boy and tells him to entertain her better. Taeyang is surrounded by pink fireballs that are about to hit him, but he jumps away, escaping that blow. In quick movements, he manages to dodge all the fireballs. Erin wonders if it is a coincidence that Taeyang managed to dodge everything. She is very shocked by the situation. Then she notices that Taeyang probably predicted where her fireballs would fly. The boy approaches, he has finally managed to get there. Taeyang concludes that the feeling he had when he used his Valshur. Everything is fine even under the full moon and with the fire fox. He can identify her mana, but the mana that the boy gained from achieving 15 feats seems to be quite similar to hers and is flowing through his body. Taeyang clenches his fist. If he can focus on that first, he might have a chance. Erin looks at him with disdain. She notices that the boy is starting to gain control over his mana. Then she screams at Balcar, not to give Taeyang time to think. The wolf charges towards the MC, ready to attack him. But at the same time, Taeyang runs towards him, preparing to deliver another violent punch to the creature. Balcar leaps onto the boy, and he raises his fist. Then he delivers a furious blow to Balcar's belly, sending him flying away. With that, he even strikes the full moon, causing it to shatter. Where the moon shatters, the wolf before him with a pierced belly begins to weaken. Eren cannot believe that Taeyang has broken her spell. And worse than that, he did it in just one blow. Using the wolf as leverage, he jumps high towards Eren. Taeyang says it is necessary to finish off the mage first. Desperate, Eren screams for him enough to come closer and tries to defend herself. She throws several fireballs towards the boy. A huge explosion occurs. But the boy emerges unscathed from the smoke. He reflects that real fire is much hotter than that. Then he delivers a lethal blow to Eren. A massive explosion happens. A yellow light spreads throughout the surroundings. Afterward, only silence remains. From a distance, Mute sees that something is not right. Apparently, the energy of Balcar and Eren has disappeared at the same time. Mute moves quickly to reach where his friends are. When he arrives, he finds Eren and Balcar sprawled on the ground. Mute is worried about the scene he is witnessing. Balcar is lifeless, lying on the ground. He looks to the other side, and Eren is in the same condition. Mute begins to tremble with rage. He lets himself be filled with fury at that moment. Mute starts to scream. He tells Eren and Balcar not to worry because he will rip all their bones out and bury them in their graves. Taeyang drinks the potion that was given to him. It is a healing potion. In a few moments, the MC is almost fully recovered. His wounds close and he feels fine. Then he drops the vial on the ground and continues on his way. Taeyang enters the clock tower and begins to ascend. He climbs the stairs slowly, one by one, until he reaches a huge door with a blue film. It is at this door that there is a space with a lock. The MC puts the key in this lock and turns it gently. When the door opens, he enters the room. Inside is where the gears of the great clock are located. The gears are shining brightly. Hyen says that this is the most important thing she can take from the top of that road of death inside the clock tower. That is an artifact present in the tower. Taeyang touches the item and his eyes widen. That is the artifact of the Great Machine. The boy lifts the item, and it is capable of putting the body in the best possible condition and accelerating it. A young man points up and tells everyone to look where he is looking. The clock tower is completely illuminated, but what catches attention is that it has stopped. The hours are no longer passing. Suddenly, someone screams. The boy who pointed up is crushed in Mute's hand. The creature is furious and seeking revenge. One of the boys tries to defend himself. Meanwhile, Taeyang descends a staircase. Something catches his attention. He looks at a tunnel where Mute was at another moment. The creature walks on the ground. Its feet are bloodied. Mute emerges from this dark tunnel, filled with hatred and surrounded by red fire. Taeyang concludes that this is the missing beast, friend of the wolf and the fox. Without responding, Mute advances towards him. The creature is ready to end the MC once and for all. A huge explosion occurs. Mute falls behind Taeyang and says it was him. It was he who ended the lives of Eren and Balcar. Mute asks how the boy dares to end the lives of beast men and if he has never thought of an easier way to die. Turning to Taeyang, Mute screams that he will break all the boy's bones and destroy him. The tiger's claws come very close to him and the boy is startled, but he manages to dodge the attack by jumping back. The punch on the ground was so strong that Mute managed to create a sort of crater. Taeyang observes that the ground gave way where Mute struck. This means that his power is far superior to that of humans. The boy begins to worry. The creature is even too fast. Mute flies at Taeyang before he can realize it. In an attempt to dodge, the boy moves away, but still, the creature's claws tear into his chest. The boy notices that he cannot evade Mute's attacks. Now he is injured. The MC can't even think about stopping Mute's attack. Before something worse happens, he charges his fist with the strength to destroy the creature. Taeyang hits Mute with all his strength, but something shocks him. Mute stopped his attack with just one paw. The boy notices that his hand is now trapped. Mute takes advantage of having Taeyang in his hands and spins the boy around. In a quick motion, he slams our hero against the wall with force. Mute is not at all shaken by this situation and glares at Taeyang with hatred. The wall broke where the boy hit, but he is no longer there. Hidden, the boy tries to staunch his wounds. Very worried, Hyen says that the MC cannot continue like this. Mute is on a level far beyond the previous ones. They have already taken the artifact and now they need to escape. Taeyang says he cannot flee. The creature in front of him is not a man, it is a beast. This means there is no escape. Mute finds a footprint of Taeyang and says that the boy will not be able to hide. Mute smells the blood coming from the boy and can find him anywhere. The tiger attacks a building in front of him. In the blink of an eye, the building splits into three. Taeyang jumps from behind the building. He leaps with all his strength onto Mute, delivering a kick. Mute asks if the MC still doesn't understand his situation and grabs the boy's leg. With all his strength, he throws the boy against the ground. The boy is severely injured. Then Mute slams Taeyang's head against the ground. He begins to hit the boy repeatedly and asks if this is all he has. Furious, Mute says he is sorry that his friends lost their lives because of someone like Taeyang. He crushes the boy as much as he can. At home, Hyeon begins to panic because she doesn't know what to do to help her friend. It turns out that beast men are much stronger than just humans. This is because the superior physique of animals is controlled by rationality. But at that moment, Mute lost all his rationality, which was replaced by a terrible rage. Taeyang reflects that the destructive power has increased, but this created a gap. The boy is very injured and reflects that he just needs a minute. Mute stops to catch his breath, but when he realizes it, the boy has already disappeared from where he was and the tiger is startled. Quickly, Taeyang advances on Mute and wonders how that creature will defend itself this time. Mute questions how he didn't notice Taeyang's movement since the boy reeks of blood. The boy says there is a saying in his hometown, even if you are attacked by a tiger, you will live if you never give up. Then the boy activates the incredible machine, his new artifact, and achieves acceleration. All the activity in his body will be processed 3 times faster for 1 minute. In this way, Taeyang manages to pass by Mute without the creature even noticing. Mute becomes furious because the MC possesses the artifact. But the boy grabs the creature by the collar and says that now it is too late. He uses all his power against Mute. Taeyang uses the warrior dragon attack, finishing off the tiger. Mute's head flies off. Our hero says he won't apologize if he doesn't think he did anything wrong. After all, he has his own reasons for wanting to end that game. Mute falls lifeless to the ground. Watching everything, Belial is astonished. The girl starts to get stressed and asks how a human from Earth managed to defeat the tiger and how that artifact is on the 5th floor. Dantalia laughs and says she can't give up on the bet that moment and that he did warn her. Disappointed, Belial comments that a human shouldn't be able to use so much mana so quickly, not to mention the artifacts he has. Dantalia remarks that humans need to start with some advantage when coming from Earth. That was the fact that all the evil kings agreed on one day. Humans from Earth are not born with mana. They cannot have as good a physique or strength as a beastman. That is why humans from Earth are given some advantage. Dantalia reflects on Taeyang. The Demon Lord smiles and a long-lost dimensional maze opens. From then on, Taeyang is destined to be the one who will change the game and the dimensional mystery. The MC uses his recovery to get back to normal. The system informs him that he managed to pass the phase because he eliminated 3 players. The boy also receives several achievements and 11 gold coins. Hyeon says she is proud that he managed to clear that floor. Taeyang is quite excited, but suddenly he feels his strength fading away. The boy falls to the ground. Hyeon observes that it seems Taeyang has fallen asleep. The viewers comment that he must be exhausted after all. He completed that stage in just a few hours. Hyeon holds her microphone, relieved that the MC managed to stay alive. Then she leaves her friend sleeping and exits the chat. Meanwhile, someone approaches Taeyang. The boy is in a deep sleep when the person stops beside him. It is Andromalius, who asks if the boy likes to sleep around. Since he doesn't respond, she gives him little kicks on his face. Getting closer to him, Andromalius says that the boy is quite interesting. Taeyang wakes up startled. When he opens his eyes, he sees a letter on his face. It is a letter from the Bozo Seeker that increases his human agility and poisoning power. Worried, Hyeon asks where Taeyang got that and what happened while he was sleeping. The boy says he doesn't know, and when he woke up, he already had that card. The girl is surprised. A very cute little demon creature introduces itself as the cutest messenger around. Its name is Bernstein. He is happy that everyone has made it this far, and he says he appeared at the beginning of everything because he is there to give some explanations about that stage. The group of people is in front of what seems to be a dark castle. Everyone there is a bit confused, not knowing what to do. Taeyang observes that this stage is not in an open world. In fact, it doesn't resemble the Road of Death at all. Hyeon agrees and says that this way is more comfortable. Bernstein says that the rules of that stage are quite simple. From then on, they will enter that castle. They will go up the castle stairs, find the room to clean, and escape in the middle of the castle. One of the boys asks if this means he only has to reach halfway up the castle and not to the top, which means it's easy. Taeyang thinks that's not quite right and asks Bernstein if there is anything at the top. Bernstein smiles upon hearing that. Bernstein says there is a crazy creature at the top of the castle. Then he says that he is crazy, very crazy, and his personality is a mess, so if he finds someone alive, he will probably grab his knife right away. The people there start to get tense. Hyeon observes that this is the boss of that stage, a crazy creature. It turns out that this creature changes its activity radius all the time, so it moves from the highest floor to the lowest floor, or does the opposite with those players who need to go up and end up getting stuck on lower floors. One of the people there asks Bernstein what happens if they encounter this crazy person in the middle of the castle, but they will pass as long as they manage to clear the place. But if they plan to run in his direction, it's better to talk to him first. To conclude, Bernstein says that there is an entrance to the dungeons in the castle's basement. There are many weapons, equipment, and special rewards there. That stage is very different from the dimensional maze he experienced before or the Road of Death, where he needed to find treasures and eliminate other players. That castle is not a competition. In fact, it is a stage that requires cooperation. Some people start to gather to enter the castle together. One of the guys tells Taeyang that they can go in there to clear the castle, but of course it is very difficult to cooperate. The spectators are excited and believe that Taeyang will finally form a team. Suddenly, a sword is plunged into the ground. A huge man says that from now on, everyone must enter the castle. This is the NPC Toby, who asks if anyone there has any objections. In the chat, people comment that he looks like a leader. The people were scared, but maybe if they follow Toby, they have a chance to win that stage. Smiling, Toby tells them to move, but Taeyang walks straight past him. Toby grabs Taeyang's shoulder and asks if the boy didn't hear him. The boy apologizes to Toby and says that he has something he is looking for, so the man shouldn't mind, he just needs to follow his own path. Toby says that Taeyang doesn't seem to be able to analyze the situation, and he doesn't recommend that the boy leave. But the MC disappears from Toby's grasp before the NPC can realize. Our hero is already almost at the top of the stairs entering the castle. Mocking Toby, Taeyang sticks his tongue out at him and enters the dungeon. In the chat, people are scared because they didn't expect this attitude from the boy. Toby starts to get very nervous and explosive because he couldn't even see our hero escape. In the middle of the group, a woman observes silently. Meanwhile, in the dungeon's basement, winged creatures try to attack Taeyang, but he eliminates them with his bare hands. Hyan says he is sure there is something in that stage. This means there must be some artifact. He has already taken down several monsters and found nothing, but there is no way someone could have taken the artifact since Taeyang was the first. The boy says he found something. It's a card. Hyan observes that it is a skill to summon spirits and asks if Taeyang can use it. The boy says that it has an uncommon level. One of the people in the chat donates 10,000 won and sends a message asking why the MC doesn't use the skill card he got last time. Hyan agrees and asks if Taeyang brought the card with him. The boy takes out the Bogo's Procurator card. Hyan says he has never seen that skill before, but he has seen a similar one that was a Fortune Procurator, a skill that guides the person to golden coins. Taeyang asks if that skill will guide him to bozos, and the girl says maybe. Hyan says that despite everything, they don't know what kind of thing a bogo could be. It could be normal equipment, artifacts, or cards, and that is quite rare. The boy ignores it and activates the card's skill. Smiling, he tells Hyan that they don't have much time to think, so they should use it right now. Meanwhile, inside the castle, people explore the places and find things. This time, they found something shiny in the middle of the hall. One of the guys goes in that direction, but Toby shouts for him to wait because that is a trap. Even so, the person goes to the artifact believing that it is his way out of that castle. But as soon as he touches the object, something terrible happens and he is gone. Even Toby is shocked by what he sees. The people enter the hall all battered and injured. Apparently, there is no healer around. One person throws his sword on the ground in anger. He says that they are not in a condition to continue like this. All the equipment is broken, and they need to start looking for things. Toby punches the boy in the face. Then he tells him to think carefully. He says it's not wise to give up and throw everything away when they are so close to the hall they need to clean. The young man says that Toby didn't warn them it would be so difficult. Several people who followed him ended up dying. People start to panic and scream that their equipment is broken, and if the crazy guy shows up, those who went below the dungeon base will live. But they are all dead there. Toby says he will find something before the madman appears. Even Toby is nervous. This is very bad. Many people have already died, and the castle has a much higher difficulty than he thought it would. It probably would have been better to look for artifacts first. Toby knows this is the truth, but he doesn't want to admit it. Moreover, it's too late to turn back, and if they disperse like this, they will die. At that point, he has no other option but to move forward. Toby grabs the young man by the head. From then on, he is determined to use force to stop anyone who goes against what he says. Toby says the man needs to believe in him. That is the only way to get out of there alive. Everyone looks shocked that Toby is holding the young man by the head. Suddenly, they hear a noise coming from behind. It's Taeyang asking why everyone is acting that way in Toby's team. Smiling, the hero approaches. Taeyang says Toby will have problems if he continues to act that way. A girl questions what the MC is doing. He doesn't seem to be afraid of Toby and has been confronting the man since early on. A woman calls for her. The woman asks if Taeyang was the first person to enter the dungeon, and the other replies yes. She wonders if the young man is a wind mage. His name is Ran and she's an NPC. A wind mage doesn't just use the wind as a weapon. They also extract tracking information and traces left in the wind. They can even predict the future. They are of great importance. Ran observes Taeyang thoughtfully. Her desire for blood is quite evident, especially since she has no fear of Toby. Ran says she thought it would be a good option to continue alone and can hardly believe she's back. Then she says she doesn't like sinister men. Taeyang asks if they are working hard on the group's cooperation. Toby becomes very frustrated. Our hero says Toby will be in trouble if he isn't persistent. Toby prepares to attack Taeyang and asks if the young man is trying to sabotage him. Toby reflects that since the young man didn't even want to cooperate with them, he probably won't help them survive. He is determined to end this before the boy can take action. Then he lunges forward and Taeyang is ready to strike him. The boy watches the attack and asks if Toby is the kind of person who uses the sword cowardly. The MC feels the mana pulsing within that sword. Our hero blocks Toby's attack with the sword, determined to put all his mana into it. This way, he will be able to break the sword. Toby's sword shatters into pieces, breaking as if it were glass. Toby is in despair and questions how many items Taeyang managed to acquire. Furious, he screams that the MC has been hiding his power all this time. But the boy says he never hid anything. Frustrated, Toby complains that Taeyang has always had all this power and still refused to help him at that level. Then Toby asks what his purpose is. The young man wonders if he should say something special at that moment. Then he says he just wants to rise. His goal is to catch the madman. Everyone there is terrified. They question whether it is really possible to capture that thing, and if Taeyang is losing his mind, but the young man remains unfazed. Toby starts to laugh and says the boy is crazier than he thought. Then he says this means it's impossible to convince Taeyang using only words. The young man gets into a combat stance, noticing that Toby plans to charge again. A girl summons the wind. A tornado of wind rushes toward Taeyang, catching him completely off guard. The impact of that tornado is great and furious. The young man manages to dodge, but the place hit by the wind is completely destroyed. A fan opens. The girl says she has heard enough nonsense. Until she gets tired of it, she stops in front of Toby. Ran has an angry expression. Toby is astonished to see the ability that Ran has. And then she says she is not helping him because she likes him and wants the young man to be aware of that. Taeyang says that even if the two decide to attack together, it won't change anything. Finally, he charges at both of them. Mazran remains unfazed and prepares to counterattack. She throws another wind attack towards Taeyang. The boy is startled by this because there is a power different from what he knows. Once again, the attack is very powerful. After attacking Taeyang, Ran mocks him. Very excited, Hyan says that this NPC is of S rank, and she questions whether the boy cannot turn her into an ally. Hyan says she doesn't know Taeyang's intentions, but she wants him to give up at that moment. The boy looks at her very seriously, then smiles and says that it doesn't matter. He then states that they continue to be black sheep who haven't managed to get any quality items, while he has accumulated tons of items at the dungeon base. The MC shouts that he doesn't care if people think he is crazy or insane. Hyan wonders if she get Taeyang too hard, because the boy seems to be losing his composure. Our hero says he has achieved his goal. Hyan is startled by this. Then she looks back, shocked. A loud crash comes from behind a gate. Ran reflects that after Taeyang said that, everyone ran away. Furious, she attacks him again. But this time, the boy is already hiding behind a huge door. To provoke her, he even sticks out his tongue, mocking the girl. The impact of the whirlwind of wind is very strong. Toby tells Ran to calm down. If he goes in there alone, he won't be able to come back anyway. Ran says that's absurd. On the other side of the door, she questions what Taeyang is doing. The boy is satisfied because all the problematic people have been sent out of the dungeon and are now in the underground. Several bizarre monsters appear, and he wonders if he should warm up before the crazy one shows up. Meanwhile, Bernstein is sipping coffee. He says he knows what everyone there is looking for. Then he snaps his fingers and says it's time for the show to begin. The people in the dungeons start to hear loud noises and become frightened. Taeyang looks back. One person says that the noise is very strange, and another says it's probably the crazy one. A girl screams for them to run to the exit of the dungeon. But before she realizes and can do anything, she is hit. Quickly, everyone there loses their lives. A creature with red eyes begins to advance through the castle. The system informs that the crazy one has appeared and has already annihilated 2 people. Someone screams for a healer and says there is no mana left. The floor is covered in blood and people are losing their lives. A boy cries on the ground because he is very injured. Another tells them to run away because if they stay, they will end up dying. But as soon as he grabs the doorknob, he is hit by a swift blow. This blow cuts his hand, and the man screams in pain. He tells the person coming after him not to go there. The person hides and wonders if this is happening because they decided to go after items in the dungeon. The woman reflects that if she had known this would happen, she would never have even entered there. But the dark creature finds where she is. The woman is a nun who says that Mr. Toby was right. Without any mercy, the monster ends her life. The system informs that the crazy one has already killed 9 people and is becoming increasingly insane. His madness level has reached stage 3. A small stone falls to the ground in the corridor, making noise. The enemy quickly looks in its direction. Then it launches an explosive attack. When the smoke clears, the creature looks carefully in the direction it attacked. There is only blood and a piece of armor lying on the ground. But behind the monster, someone advances and attacks it quickly. After delivering a critical hit, Toby plans to evacuate the others so they can leave that dungeon. But something unexpected happens. His sword does no damage to the enemy. The crazy one is surrounded by a reddish aura that protects him, and even Toby's sword cannot penetrate it. Seeing Toby trying to attack him, the creature decides to retaliate. It strikes Toby's face violently, and the man screams. The enemy observes, and Toby, even injured, is still standing. Filled with fury, he reflects that he cannot give up yet. So he decides to use his warrior spirit manifestation ability. Toby shouts, surrounded by energy. Then he tries to hit the enemy. Using all his power, he manages to penetrate the aura. But even so, his attack is not very significant. Before Toby can do anything else, the creature pierces him with its sword. The man is gravely injured. As soon as the enemy pulls the sword out of him, he loses his balance, causing his weapon to fall to the ground. Toby falls to his knees on the ground. The monster stands before him, observing for a moment. Then it raises its sword high to deliver a final blow. But before the creature can strike Toby, something flies in its direction. It is a tornado of wind that sends the enemy flying away. Rand rushes in front of Toby and says he did a good job. He wasted a long time fighting the enemy. Rand says they cannot afford to have any more casualties. Apparently, the blood aura surrounding the madmen grows stronger, more intense with each new life he reaps. The creature is already standing and looks at Rand with a terrifying expression. Rand reflects that she does not know what that means. Even so, thanks to what Taeyang said, most people went underground, so the damage won't be as great. Now she needs to evacuate those who are still there. Rand needs to do this as quickly as possible, so she uses her wind tornado power. The madman is ready to receive this attack, but when hit, he is thrown against the wall, which breaks. Rand shouts for everyone there to flee to the dungeons underground. They run away, and Rand stays behind to try to hold off the madman. The creature is already ready to rise again. It is leaning on its sword, still surrounded by its red aura. Then it notices that people are running and Rand is standing there in front of it. Furious, the monster prepares to attack. Rand feels nervous and confused about this. With a quick movement, the creature launches a power against Rand. She wonders what power that is and protects herself with her magical power, but the attack passes through her and hits those who are fleeing. Rand questions whether that is the wind power that swirls around its sword. The system informs that the madman has already knocked down 12 people, and monstrous horns sprout from the enemy's head. The creature has already reached stage 4, which leaves it completely out of control. Rand observes that the madman is getting bigger, which means he is becoming stronger than before. Again, the creature uses its powerful attack against the girl. She protects herself again with her fan, but this time the attack is even more intense. Rand observes that this is a lot of power, and she won't last much longer. The girl is very worried. Her hands tremble, and she notices something and smiles. The woman says she never thought she would feel afraid of the wind. She closes her eyes, questioning whether this is her last moment. Not far away, Taeyang watches everything, bored with the situation. Then Rand notices his presence and wonders why he is there. She shouts for him to help her, and he questions whether she has decided to talk to him now. The creature continues to launch its attack against Rand, and she shouts to him that the boy said he could take down the madman, so she asks him to help her. Almost losing to the creature, Rand asks Taeyang if there is a way to capture that monster and says she can help him because she is very strong and useful. Mocking her, the MC questions why he should trust her. Rand promises him that she is trustworthy. Rand then makes a fortune teller's oath to the boy in order to convince him to help. He asks Hyun if that girl is really strong. Hyun says she is the best NPC she has ever seen, and Taeyang agrees. The MC asks if Rand promises to help him without causing any problems, and the woman promises. Taking advantage of the situation, Taeyang asks if Rand promises to live the rest of her life for him. Rand is shocked by his question, and the viewers notice that the boy is trying to make a slavery contract with her. Our hero turns his back and says that if she doesn't want to accept, he can leave. But Rand needs to live, so she promises Taeyang that she will live for him until the last day of her life. The creature is about to finish off Rand with a final blow. The monster's sword approaches the girl at high speed, but before it can hit her, something stops it. It is Taeyang, who has stepped in front of Rand and said that the deal is done. Rand is shocked that the boy can stop that creature so easily. Smiling, the boy says the contract is signed. Rand watches Taeyang in shock at the fact that he managed to stop the creature just by using his foot. The monster becomes angry because Taeyang was able to stop him. Our hero looks at the creature with a look of rage. The madman becomes furious and shouts at him. With all his strength, he tries to make a new attack. But when the smoke clears, he sees that Taeyang and Rand have escaped. The boy carried Rand away from there. During the brief moment when the crazy man raised his sword, the MC managed to jump away. He places Rand on the ground, and the woman asks in shock what he plans to do. The creature is standing still, looking for Taeyang. Repeatedly, something catches its attention. It is a huge chandelier that is falling right on top of it. The monster gets distracted trying to protect itself from that gigantic chandelier. Meanwhile, Taeyang flies in its direction. He delivers a powerful kick to its face. But even using his power, he cannot inflict damage on the creature. Taeyang is worried about this. The aura around the monster intensifies and throws the boy away. He lands on the ground, sliding. As expected, the red aura acts as a shield and the attacks don't do much. As its level of madness increases, the aura becomes stronger. The power of that monster is multiplied by 2 for every 3 people it eliminates. Now the creature is very powerful. By Taeyang's calculations, it is 16 times stronger and the monster advances toward the boy. But something interrupts it. The creature looks toward a noise. It is several people who are hiding behind a pillar and have just been discovered. The crazy man tries to attack them and causes a huge explosion. The system reports that the creature has already taken out 15 people. Now this evolved to stage 5. Taeyang observes that the monster's power is now 32 times stronger. The creature's carcass begins to open and a terrifying red figure emerges from within it. The new monster resembles a winged red demon with enormous horns and a powerful sword. Ran observes that now that the crazy man has evolved so much, even Taeyang will not be able to defeat him. She is watching everything from above. Taeyang extends his hand and Ran is confused by this. The boy asks Hyeon how long that creature has been evolving and the girl replies that it has been 20 minutes. The boy accepts. He has a plan in mind. Our hero decides to use his perfect machine to increase his power. In the chat, people question whether this might cause any harm to the boy. Apparently, he wants to defeat the creature that is 32 times stronger by becoming only 3 times more powerful. The monster charges at Taeyang, ready to defeat him once and for all. Even so, the boy seems unfazed. The power of that clock tower machine begins to act on him. The creature gets very close, screaming and demonically ready to eliminate Taeyang. But before it can reach our hero, the machine acted. He does not back away and does not feel fear for a single moment. The demon begins to get confused about what is happening as its sword comes very close to Taeyang. Apparently, there are 2 abilities that the incredible mechanism possesses. The first is to accelerate the body. The second power of that piece is to restore the body's initial form. All the players know this and assume that this power refers to themselves. But this ability can be used on others, so the crazy man's level returns to what it was 20 minutes earlier and he begins to disintegrate. The creature returns to stage 1 and becomes desperate in front of Taeyang. The monster looks at itself, not understanding what is happening. Taeyang questions whether the monster is feeling bad for losing everything it has gained. The enemy becomes furious. Then it starts trying to hit him several times in a row, but even the crazy man without a red armor will become weak. The boy concludes that is the perfect moment to use one of his cards. The object in Taeyang's hand begins to shine and magic happens. Our hero is confused because there is a lot of wind around him. That was an unknown card until now, but it has now become clear that it is a tornado summoning card that makes the spirit of the Lord of the Tornado possess Taeyang's body. Hyeon observes that it was an uncommon level card. Ram protects herself from the wind, and the MC observes that he is being possessed by the spirit of the tornado. He is now filled with power and decides to take advantage of it. The situation has become much better now. The monster tries to advance on Taeyang, but the boy is determined. The creature attacks him with a sword strike. Ran observes that Taeyang did not dodge and Hyeon becomes worried about him. The creature's eyes widen, thinking it has caught the MC. But the boy moves at extremely high speed and strikes the monster from behind. The boy is smiling because he achieved what he wanted. He hits the creature with a powerful kick to its back. Hyeon and Ran are scared and in shock at that move. The monster flies away. Taeyang uses his skill from King P. He delivers a very strong punch to the creature. Next, he jumps high and strikes the monster from above, sending it crashing to the ground. That is a bold combo, and the boy hits the creature over and over again. On the 18th strike, Taeyang gathers all his strength and destroys the creature. The monster's body lies on the ground, and the system informs that the spirit of the Lord of the Tornado has left its body. From a distance, Ran observes everything. She sees that the boy has been engulfed by a furious tornado. Taeyang signals to Ran to come down, and the woman wonders who that man is. The MC stands before the lifeless monster in a hall that was the site of the battle. The boy picks up his enemy's sword from the ground, which is dirty. It is a vampiric katana, and Taeyang wonders how it came to be in the possession of that creature. The sword emanates its own glow. This katana is a rare piece of equipment that increases agility, strength, and vampirism. Not only is it an important and rare item, but it also has an ability that makes fighting much easier. Taeyang is feeling a lot of pain, and while it's not as bad as when he fought the tiger, he has been trying to tolerate the pain until now. The boy asks if Ran like that. The girl supports the boy's chest because he is leaning forward, and Taeyang is startled. Hyeon asks if the MC is okay, and the people in the chat are shocked that Ran is so close to the boy. He then decides to use the power of regeneration. A green light surrounds him, and he recovers from his injuries. Ran is indignant and says she was worried for nothing since Taeyang can regenerate. Then our hero remembers that Ran made a vow to him. He questions what happens if she breaks that vow, and the girl becomes nervous. He falls silent for a moment, then says that if she breaks the promise, she will lose all the abilities she has accumulated over time. Taeyang becomes reflective, and Hyeon says that is the most important thing for a magician. It's not impossible for her to betray him, but she seems trustworthy. Then the boy says that from now on she must obey him. Indignant, Ren shouts for the boy not to come near her. Taeyang extends his hand and says they should introduce themselves. The boy introduces himself as Yoon Taeyang. Ran introduces herself as well, saying she is a Feng Shui master. They walk away from there, crossing a corridor that is piled with bodies. The two head towards a door, and the boy grabs its doorknob. He opens the huge gate, and on the other side, someone is sitting and waiting. It is Andromalius, who complains that they took too long to get there. Ran is startled that Andromalius is there, and the woman looks at the girl. Then Andromalius says that Taeyang did a good job exploring, and the boy becomes furious. Taeyang questions why Andromalius gave him that, and Bernstein gets angry because the boy addressed Andromalius informally. The woman says she believes the MC will be able to receive even more in the future. That is, of course, if he continues to perform well as he has been so far. Andromalius then snaps her fingers. Taeyang has managed to pass that phase of the castle and has achieved 6 new accomplishments. Rand is shocked because it is the first time she has achieved so many accomplishments. Until now, she had only managed to reach a limit of 3. The boy suddenly starts to feel unwell and Rand becomes worried. Andromalius says that is to be expected. Since he achieved 10 accomplishments, it won't be easy to adapt to such an expansive soul. Rand is shocked and asks about the 10 accomplishments. Then the system informs all the accomplishments that Taeyang has achieved. Rand is in complete shock and the people in the chat can hardly believe that it is possible. Suddenly, confetti flies in the air and a user donates 1,000,000 won to the boy, saying he played very well. The viewers are shocked by who made the donation. Hyan is astonished because that person is in 4th place in the Gantalian ranking and is a veteran with a recognized professional level. Definitely, the number of viewers has likely increased significantly. Andromalius congratulates Taeyang, saying he did a good job. In Andromalius' report, she mentions how the boy has power beyond his level. His skills are very good. With this, he earns the Rank S certificate. Taeyang observes that and reflects on Rank S. A new door opens and Andromalius says that this is the end of everything she can do for him. Then the woman tells Taeyang to leave because there is a lord who is very eager to meet him. There is a tavern between the 6th and 7th floors and it serves the lord exclusively. The lord responsible for floors 7, 8, and 9 is Belial. The girl turns to the MC and welcomes him. Belial's tavern is enchanted and you cannot communicate with other players except for your team members. She greets Taeyang and says she was waiting. Taeyang asks if the woman knows him, and she says she has heard a lot about him. She comments that she was personally on the 5th floor with the hero. She looks deeply at the young man and says she hopes he performs well on her floors too. Then she says that Taeyang is probably exhausted after climbing up to that point. After all, the stages of Andromalho are very addictive. Belial asks if Taeyang wants to start with dinner, a bath, or a task. She has a clipboard with a list of magical items. Hyan observes that all those items are high-level artifacts. In the case of some famous items, they are just imitations and do not reach even half the performance of the original. Hyan says that even at the lowest levels, they can be incredibly useful if you possess them. Belial questions which one Taeyang wants to order and Hyan says she doesn't have enough money for that. Belial says it's alright and she doesn't need money. That is the reward they will receive after passing through the 7th floor. She plans to let them have an advantage. Hyan asks if they will receive the 7th floor prizes in advance. Then she says they need to think about it. Belial responds that they can take as long as they need to think. They have the whole night. Belial asks if Hyan wants a hotel room and the girl says no. The demon lord says the girl is very restless. Taeyang is confused and says he will sleep and see her the next day. Hyan says she will also sleep and bids farewell to Taeyang, and the boy enters his quarters. In the chat, people are agitated. Hyan observes that she expected this from the beginning, but the comments are getting a bit too much. No matter how important a person's life is, there will always be others who couldn't care less, even if it costs the life of one person or thousands of them. Hyan is exhausted. Maybe she should seek out an administrator. Now Taeyang's stream has reached 10,000 viewers and is approaching 50,000. During the fight against the madmen, it reached 100,000. This has become an important topic, not only in Korea but worldwide. As a result, it has grown significantly and provocative comments have started to emerge. Hyan wonders if she should keep this private. Then she reflects that Taeyang is playing with his own life and is desperate for even 1 or 2 small clues. Suddenly, Hyan's phone rings. There are several messages from people asking for help for Taeyang to find his family. The phone number of the streamer is protected, but sometimes it is possible to get the contact. Those are contacts from people who want help with family members. Little do they know that she and Taeyang are also desperate at that moment. She just wants those family members to wait a little longer. Before Hyan on the 2 capsules, she takes vitamins for Taeyang. When the boy gets hurt during a battle, it is taken out of the capsule. Sometimes the capsule can even shake if the pain is severe. Taeyang's body, being connected to the game, is also suffering severely. Hyan wonders if the MC will be able to endure that. The girl is worried and hopes her friend can hold on. The next day, Hyan looks worn out. Taeyang asks if she stayed awake all night and if she made a decision. It seems that the rumors about NPCs staying awake all night are true. Excited, Belial tells them to choose carefully because there is no going back once the choice is made. Taeyang says there is nothing legendary there and Belial agrees. She says it's not like the lords can carry legendary level cards whenever they want. The legendary level is the highest level in Dantalian. Officially, no user has ever received a card of that level. In the chat, people wonder if it really exists. Taeyang examines the items in the catalog closely. Something in the catalog catches Taeyang's attention. The boy says he has already decided what he wants. Ran hands over the catalog and comments that she has also made her decision. Belial points out where the door to the 7th floor is. Then she wishes good luck to both of them. The duo walks toward the door. Taeyang asks what card Rand chose. The girl opens the card for the boy to see. It is the northern wind crystal, called the ice shield. Taeyang asks if the girl can use this and if she won't end up losing her life by using it. Wind mages use mana to manipulate the wind. Freezing mana is a double-edged sword. Ran looks at the boy. Despite everything, if she is a reliable ally, that could be a very effective tactic. Taeyang looks at Ran and she clears her throat. Then she asks which card he chose. Reaching out to open the door, the boy looks confused. Then he smiles and enters the 7th floor. On the other side of the door, Belial just watches. The demon lord Dantalion approaches and Belial says he has finally reached the stage of the 7th floor. Then he asks if he is there to watch Taeyang play again and mentions that he seems to be a big fan of the boy. Dantalion says he has been paying a lot of attention to him. He asks if the 7th floor is the level where she gives rewards to people with the Belial category. She questions if the man wants to know which card Taeyang chose. He looks at the catalog with the options. Dantalion is sure about which one Taeyang chose. Then he points to that one in the catalog. Two people are sitting in armchairs and wonder if any other player arrived there before them. One of them is the demon lord of the 62nd floor, the Dragon King, who questions why they are there as if there is something important to see on the 7th floor. The demon lord Chimera from the 66th floor greets Dantalion. Dantalion greets Chimera and Balrog, saying that they haven't seen each other in a long time. He smiles and says he is especially happy to see Balrog because it is not easy to find him. The man says he only came there because Chimera decided to go. Drinking the drink that Belial gave him, Chimera says she heard that player is famous, and she is there to observe him because she imagines he will reach her floor soon. Belial tells them to stop chatting. It's time to focus on the broadcast. Dantalion says that this is the 7th floor, the stage of the Holy Apocalypse, which reproduces the invasion of the fallen angels that occurred in the demon world. Chimera says she now understands why the other demon lords were impressed. That player's sense of battle is impressively sharp. It seems he has a good grasp of battles, and his ability to make quick decisions is very good. Balrog says that Taeyang may have some skills, but that's all. A human cannot reach the level of the video game like a celestial being. Excited, Dantalion asks if Balrog wants to make a bet. Balrog says it is impossible that Dantalion likes that boy, and it seems the rumor that he has been robbing the demon's pockets through bets is not just a rumor. Dantalion says that is just a little entertainment along the vast journey. Then he asks if Balrog is feeling scared. Balrog says that even the suggestion from Dantalion is annoying and he feels like he is being mocked, which is why he doesn't want to bet. Belial asks why he is helping that player. Chimera says that is what she was saying, even if that player is from Earth. Balrog asks if the player is from Earth. Dantalion worked hard to incorporate humans from Earth among the players of the dimensional maze. This was something he obtained when he crossed a dimension, and with great effort, they achieved a bizarre level of trash. Balrog reflects that Dantalion is supporting that human because he wants to prove that his efforts were not in vain. Balrog breaks the cup in his hand and says that Dantalion was responsible for bringing humans from Earth inside. He says angrily that he did not like that. Balrog says there is one thing he hates, which is an unjust action. He questions whether Dantalion thinks Taeyang would have had those advantages without his help. Dantalion says that giving a little help to someone who shows potential is a natural thing to do, and he questions whether everyone there does not agree. The place starts to shake and Belial complains that they will end up breaking the whole bar and tells them to calm down. Balrog is indignant. He stands up and says that the mood is ruined, so he is leaving what Chimera calls him. The man leaves anyway, and Chimera says she will go after him next, apologizing for the rude behavior of the man. Belial observes that it has been a while since they were all together. Laughing, Dantalion says that Balrog is very scary when he is angry, and he apologizes for losing a bit of control. On the screen, Taeyang is fighting someone. Dantalion says it is very sad that Balrog left because he should have seen that scene. Belial says he will watch anyway. After all, the recordings are available for all the lords. Dantalion says that's not it. He wanted to see Balrog's face watching that scene. Dantalion observes that it would have been fun if Balrog had made the bet with him. Belial says that Dantalion probably sees some potential in Taeyang. That is a player who faced the leader of the Celestial faction head-on, but that's not the most important part. He did all of this using all his power, a power of his own, and that's the point. Players, especially those from Earth, are usually very weak. They are not used to adapting to the grandeur of the power they acquire in the dimensional labyrinth. A player with level 10 power can only control around level 7 or 8. When they gain level 20 power, they can only manage about level 12 or 13. Even so, Taeyang can work with power levels of 20, 30, or even 40. Full of achievements and an accumulation of cards, his abilities will expand. He uses all these abilities from the start. In this sense, the guy is perfect. Belial notes that Taeyang's adaptability continues to grow remarkably and wonders how this can happen. Dantalion observes that the dimensional labyrinth is harsh, but if you survive, it constantly expands the limits of your existence. He says that this is familiar to him, challenging his own limits. The lords watch Taeyang and Ran fighting on the big screen. There is nothing more fitting than the proposal of the dimensional labyrinth. A green creature lets out a roar. That is the conflict zone of floor 39. A warrior fights against a gigantic monster. Meanwhile, others try to attack the other creatures that are also approaching. One of them is confused about why they can't exit the game, and the other says he doesn't understand what's happening either, but they need to take down the orcs. People are starting to get desperate. Meanwhile, the orcs are becoming increasingly aggressive. A young man throws an orc away. He shouts at the healer, telling her to help him quickly, but she says she needs to wait a bit until her power is charged. Suddenly, all the girls' system windows turn red. The windows inform that the player Seo Yejin has lost her life, and the girl is very confused. She tries to say something, but before she can say anything, she explodes. Around her, people are in shock, not understanding what is happening. One of them panics because that was the only healer they had. Meanwhile, the orc chief approaches furiously. Someone invokes the sacred shield. This person stands in front of the other young man, defending him. Thus, the orc chief is thrown far away. The young man is confused and questions who that person is. The person with the shield turns to the young man and tells him not to give up and to get up soon. It is Bioran rank 50, and she says it's not over yet. One of them complains, saying he knows it's not over, but they don't have any healers left, so there's no way to prolong this any further. Bioran reflects on the fact that they don't have any healers anymore. She starts trying to think of a solution to get out of there. Then she remembers seeing someone fight and concludes that she needs him. That stage is connected to floor 36, and she can apply the king's pass technique. Bioram shouts for everyone to gather around her. The orcs approach quickly. A woman screams that they are coming. Bioram uses her magical shield and raises it while shouting as a yellow light shines. An explosion occurs, sending light into the sky. The ground breaks beneath their feet. Then everyone falls, returning from floor 39 to 37. Up above, the orcs look at the crater, frustrated. As they fall, a woman is happy that the orcs can no longer pursue them, and a young man is shocked that it's possible to return to the previous floor by breaking the ground. They continue falling toward the previous floor. Bioram asks the magic user to use their water or wind power to soften their fall. Suddenly, a red card arrives for Bioram. It is the item from the Demon Arena Challenge. The card opens by itself in the air, and a huge manuscript comes out of it. The card states that they must take the place under the command of the demon. Right after Bioram reads the card, it catches fire, and she reflects that it is sent to make a deal or give a warning. Then she wonders who could have sent that. A small demon lands on Taeyang's finger. He says that the opponent on floor 37 accepted the challenge. Then it catches fire in Taeyang's hand. Ran asks why the young man chose that card instead of any other rare item, and the boy says it was something he really needed. Ran doesn't understand and says that it's just a normal item that serves to invite someone to a duel. In terms of value, it cannot be compared to a rare item. Taeyang says that on the other hand, it is possible to send that letter to anyone regardless of their location, and this assumes that the person is alive. Ran asks if that means he gave up a rare letter just to find someone, and the young man confirms that this is indeed the case. The MC says he only climbed that tower to find this person, so he intentionally lost the chance to obtain a rare letter. Ran wonders who this person is that Taeyang is searching for so desperately. She questions whether it could be the young man's girlfriend. She reflects on whether someone as cold as Taeyang is capable of risking his own life for love, and the young man asks why she isn't following him. Suddenly, the two find themselves facing a figure. This figure has wings and horns and speaks to the players. There's a woman standing in front of an elevator and says they have arrived at the Paradise Stage elevator. This stage has 5 levels, which means it is possible to jump to the next floor based on the number of levels you have conquered. She asks which level the players wish to go to. The viewers discuss that they tried that and barely passed the 2nd level. Hyan says that players usually choose 4, 1, or 2, but they can handle level 3. Even so, Taeyang shouldn't pressure himself too much. Without hesitating for a moment, the young man presses level 5. He has hatred in his eyes and is determined to get out of there. Haya becomes worried and the viewers are in shock. Inside the elevator, they begin to ascend. Ran observes Taeyang. He has very cruel eyes, but they are not the eyes of someone who believes in their own strength. Even so, he is putting himself at risk for a specific goal. Taeyang is filled with determination. They reach the 5th level. Inside, a white-winged creature is sitting and waiting. The creature begins to say something. Then it shouts that survivors can climb the tower. The goal is to defeat the commander of Paradise. The girl from the elevator says that now it's time for the battle to begin. Taeyang and the winged creature start to fight powerfully. The young man is determined, and Ran is curious about how he is willing to sacrifice everything he has for a single person he loves. Ran reflects that making a deal with someone who already has an owner is madness, but Taeyang has not given any indication that he already has someone in his life. Someone calls for Ram, and the hero questions what the girl has been thinking all this time. The boy asks if she has forgotten him and if she will leave him there to die. Looking at Taeyang, she reflects that he is a shameful figure. Even so, she made a promise to the wind. Spoiled people deserve death, but she will help the MC because of her promise. Then she adds the power of the wind, and their movements are accelerated by 20%. Taeyang says he trusts Ran's wind. Colorful flames surround the winged creature and Taeyang. The boy is uncomfortable and tired. The monster in front of him is the NPC Weaver, who spins his spear in the air. Hyan says that Weaver is a mage who manipulates the fire of the celestial realm. He is a well-known NPC. The flames of paradise are very potent and filled with magic. Even if the MC has protection against magic, the effect will still hit him. Taeyang watches that flame shine. He is completely surrounded by fire. Then he relives his childhood traumas when the building caught fire. At that time, the boy was with his younger sister. His father ran into the building and left him behind. Taeyang tried to go after his father, but his sister held him back. Byeolrin was crying and shouted for him not to go because their father asked them to wait there. In that moment, Taeyang becomes furious and pulls his hand away, shouting at the girl. He says that all of this happened because of her. The boy says that if she hadn't done something so unnecessary, this wouldn't have happened. He shouts that he told her he didn't want to eat anything. Byeolrin was trying to heat water to make ramen for her brother. She heard him arrive and forgot the pot on the stove. Taeyang steps away from Byeolrin and tells her not to get in his way. Then he runs into the building. The flames are intense, but the MC calls for his father, worried. The smoke is very thick, and he can barely breathe. Taeyang sees that the fire has taken over everything. He reflects that the fire is very strong. Suddenly, the ceiling collapses and the building begins to crumble. In despair, he simply closes his eyes. Then his sister screams for him. Her tears fall onto the boy's face. When he wakes up, Byeolrin is crying over him. Things are still on fire, and the girl entered the building just to find him. Crying, she apologizes and says that all of this is her fault. The firefighters enter the building and say that there are 2 children inside, but they haven't found any other survivors. In the newspaper, the woman said that the incident of the burning building was caused by an arsonist. The culprit was still being sought to pay for his crimes. Taeyang hears the news and reflects that the fire was started by an arsonist and it wasn't Byeolrin's fault. But because of him, the girl was marked in a way that cannot be reversed. She received both emotional and physical scars. Even when she was young, she didn't hesitate to save her brother. On the other hand, he couldn't save anyone, neither his father nor Byeolrin, who had to survive alone. Taeyang decided at that moment that he would definitely save her this time. The winged creature that Taeyang is fighting pierces him with its spear. The boy agonizes in pain. Hyen and Ran are worried. While the monster has the spear stuck in Taeyang, something frightens it. The MC looks at the monster with serene and hate-filled eyes. The boy does not fall. The creature is impressed by Taeyang's resolute eyes and wonders if he has fallen into the gears of others. But that doesn't matter at that moment because the young man can no longer be helped and he is in the same situation. Even so, the young man impresses the creature. Our hero grips the spear's shaft and smiles. Taeyang shouts for Ran to send her wind in his direction. The girl becomes worried and says that if she does that, the fire will intensify in that direction. But our hero doesn't care and shouts for her to do it quickly. Ran wonders what Taeyang is doing and if he intends to burn alive. Even without being sure of what she is doing, the girl unleashes her wind power towards him. The enemy says that using the wind in that situation is foolish and shouts that it will only make Taeyang's death quicker. The boy begins to scream. Meanwhile, a whirlwind of flames and winds forms. The creature questions if Taeyang thinks they will die together in the flames, and questions what kind of fire Taeyang thinks that is. The MC uses the card of the perfect machine, questioning the monster if that can still be called its fire. Now he has control over all that fire. At this point, the creature realizes what the young man was planning, and notes that if it continues like this, it will soon be completely consumed. Taeyang shouts that this is not the end yet. Then he invokes his spirit, leaving his opponent very frightened. The boy tells the spirit that he needs help to understand what to do to get out of there. The spirit looks at the boy in silence. Then the magic begins to happen. Meanwhile, the fire consumes Taeyang's clothes and he feels his skin burning. Even so, if it hurts that much, his enemy is probably feeling it too, and that's what matters. The warrior begins to scream amidst the flames. They only intensify without ceasing. The creature's wings catch fire and it comments that Taeyang is an arrogant human. It is furious that the MC tried to defeat it with its own fire. The creature turns to ashes and ends by saying that Taeyang made a great mistake. The girl from the elevator is excited and shouts that the winner is player Taeyang. The boy falls to the ground, severely burned and exhausted. Then he uses the recovery card to return to how he was before. Ren approaches and says that she notices that our hero is quite determined to put his life in danger just for his precious love. Then with a sulky face, she says that she needs to admit that. Taeyang is confused about her talking about love and a girlfriend. Ran says that starting an agreement with someone who is already committed is a shame for a wind mage. Taeyang still doesn't understand. Then Ran angrily says that's right, and she heard that he wants to clear that tower just to rescue his girlfriend. Confused, Taeyang asks if he didn't mention to her that his sister was in the tower, then asks Ran to help him heal because his legs hurt. Ran is shocked by that information. They stand in silence, facing each other for a few moments. Then Ran walks away towards the elevator. She enters the place and asks what the MC is doing, saying that they need to go. The girl in the elevator says they need to be together to go up. Ran is outraged that it wasn't Taeyang's girlfriend, but rather his younger sister that he is looking for. But on the other hand, she is grateful. The girl is having an internal crisis and questions why she is so grateful for that. Taeyang asks the elevator lady if he can go up to the 5th floor after winning at level 5, and she says yes. Then she mentions that it seems there is a reason why the demons are paying so much attention to Taeyang. They go up in the elevator. When they exit, Taeyang is thinking about his sister. The boy is very determined to be the one who will save her. After Taeyang reached the 5th floor, the number of people watching his game also increased. Now the number has surpassed 500,000 viewers. Not only in Korea but around the world, everyone is paying attention to this. Reporters have stopped in front of his house, and now the boy has even become news. Everyone knows that Taeyang's sister is trapped in the game. Hyeon looks out the window at the reporters who are down there. This stage is more dangerous and problematic than the previous one. A huge blue creature charges forward, but it is annihilated in a quick and precise strike. Only its remains are left. The boy is responsible for annihilating all those dragons. That stage is managed by the demon lord of the 12th floor, Chimera. Taeyang complains that it is very cold there. Snow surrounds Hyeon, making it impossible for her to see. Even so, she plans to focus on the mana to find a way. Hyeon tells Taeyang to move 50 meters south. He tells Ran that they should go. Ran asks if the one who told them to do this was the ghost. The MC told the girl that Hyeon was a ghost guiding him. Ran caught him off guard when she asked who he lived with. On that occasion, he said it was a guardian ghost of a girl. Hyeon was outraged because she thought ghosts were too ugly for him to compare her to one. In the end, Taeyang's ghost was very efficient with strategies and in bringing information about the stages. Thanks to her, he is able to attain the rewards he would have lost. After defeating the winged enemy, Taeyang received a letter. It was the angel's thought, a rare letter. Ran also reorganized her equipment and maximized the effect of her synergy. To become stronger, Ran merged some of her items. Ran wonders what that ghost was like when she was alive because she seems to be someone very well adjusted. The duo advances and Taeyang is happy to finally find what he wanted. They are in front of the tracks of an express train. The land of the Lost Express is a cold place thanks to a dragon, a Terra. Several groups have tried to defeat it, but none has succeeded. For this reason, that train can be called the Dragon Annihilator Train. The player needs to survive on that train and enter the first cabin, the machinery room. There is an operator who controls that train. In addition, there are engineers who take care of the mechanical part and the guardian who protects the train from the dragons. There are also some missions inside the train. Because of the cold, Ran ends up sneezing. She is starting to get a little sick. Taeyang and she wrap themselves in cloths to try to warm up. Hyeon observes that that place is quite hostile for the players. The MC says this is because those who passed through that floor before did so incorrectly. He questions if they can't just run away from there. Hyeon says she is confident. Hyeon tells them to go slowly and that there is a control key to enter the main cabin, and the train officials have that key. The easiest strategy is the Guardian's route. This route includes defeating several dragons to be promoted as the train's guardian, and this route allows them to clear the floor very easily. Hyeon reflects that there is a problem with this, which is the fact that they do not know when they will encounter the dragon, so it is not good strategy for those who have little time. Suddenly, someone starts to approach the duo. Taeyang and Ran hide, and two men enter the carriage. They are outraged that the carriage door is broken. It was the MC who broke that door to get into the train. One of the men says that it is probably those little rats that keep invading the train. They destroy goods and run around. The other guy says that Commander Guhol should eliminate them once and for all. Taeyang listens carefully that Guhol is the commander of the guards. He is one of the three main people responsible for the train. Guhol is an NPC who only reveals his true appearance when facing a high-level dragon. Someone shouts for the two boys, saying there is a dragon in front of the train and they need to hurry to help. Hyeon gets excited about the fact that there is a dragon there, but not just any dragon, it's a dragon's nest. She comments that they are very lucky to have reached the dragon's nest, because this means that the dragon battle is about to begin. Someone announces that the food collection team is returning. Some people start to enter the carriage looking downcast. They are tired and injured. The NPC commander Crusoe asks them to update the situation. One of the soldiers begins to explain what happened, but Crusoe tells him to stop. Then he asks where the leader of the third squad is and why that man is reporting things instead of the leader. Crusoe questions where the captain is at that moment and if that bastard is trying to escape. The young man in front of him looks down and says that the captain died in battle. Crusoe asks what happened to the vice leader then. Still looking down, the soldier says that he also died. Hidden, Taeyang and Ran watch everything happen. Then Crusoe understands and says that at that moment he will recruit new people to face dragons. They must seek everyone, both the rats and the vagabonds. Someone walks with a bowl full of meat. It is a person entering a dark, empty corridor. He grumbles that he heard that half of the supply team died in action, and in the midst of all this, they want to rest. He presses a button and a door opens before him. But at that moment, while he is feeding a cat, the man questions what he thinks about it. Then he extends one of the meat steaks. He approaches a huge cage and tells the little kitten to come closer. The steak shakes closer and closer to the cage. A growl comes from inside the cage behind the bars. The creature inside speaks, saying that they are very rude and that it has tolerated this for a long time, but can no longer stand it. The young man is frightened and questions how that thing can talk. Then a hand grabs him. From inside that dark room, he screams. The man tries to crawl out of the room, very injured. As he leaves, the creature already has the key it needed. Then it opens the door of its cage. Now the monster is free. The creature says it can smell the scent of its kin. Military vehicles move over the snow. They are climbing a mountain. It is very cold and the temperature drops more and more as they ascend the mountain. As Ran complained about the cold, Daeng gives her his blanket to keep warm. The girdle thanks him. Ran asks how they managed to get there without being captured. Daeng says they were summoned as guardians and it doesn't matter if they are called rats or anything else. Deep down, Taeyang knows he will only be used as a meat shield. There are several people sitting inside the vehicle with them, who are also cold. Besides being cold, the people seem to be very scared. The captain tells everyone to pay attention to what he is saying. He says the mission is to retrieve the supply container that is 3 kilometers from their location. The container is located very close to where the dragons stay. In other words, it will have to invade the dragon's nest. Then he extends a red capsule. He says that this is capable of allowing them to survive in the cold for 5 hours. Each one will take 3, and those who take more will be executed immediately if caught. The captain then tells them to start distributing the pills. Then he throws a bag to Taeyang and shouts for them to take the pill. Taeyang consumes one of them. Suddenly, he is surrounded by a flame aura. He can feel the fire element inside his body. Out of nowhere, the vehicle they are in is attacked. The people inside begin to panic. Outside, several dragons approach the vehicle. The captain asks what they are doing and shouts for them to go deal with those dragons. The boy is in shock because he wants them to fight those creatures. The boy says he is not ready yet, but before he can say anything else, he is hit. His head flies off, frightening everyone else. The roof of the vehicle is torn, and before them stands a gigantic blue dragon. Taeyang tells Ran that they need to move forward. The girl says she was getting ready. Then she uses her wind power to launch the boy into the air. The boy hovers above the creature. Then he violently charges forward, causing an explosion. The other people also advance on the dragons to fight. Even so, there are many dragons, and they keep coming. The captain says they need to be faster and prioritize the container. The others must block the body and serve as human shields against the dragons. Taeyang asks Hyeon when they will receive the necessary attention. Hyeon says that if this is the last nest, now is the best time for Taeyang to show his power. The boy asks if she is sure. Then Hyeon says he should use a spectacular strike. Since everyone is tired, this is the ideal moment to gain the necessary attention. The boy smiles and says that's fine then. After all, the protagonist always appears at the last moment. Taeyang calls Ran and the girl asks what he wants. He shouts that it's time to put an end to this and the girl agrees. She grabs her fan and says that the main job of a wind mage is not to create wind, but to control it with all her power. Ran captures a dragon with her wind. The creature screams, trying to escape from that supernatural power. The dragon starts to approach where the people are, and they run away in fear of being hit. Ran and Taeyang observe. Then the boy prepares to attack. That stage is filled with mana mixed with that cold. The MC reflects that he should try to concentrate and drain the wind mana. Through his feet, he begins to absorb all the power he can. Taeyang manages to do what he needs just in time. Ran is shocked that our hero can control mana that way and mix wind mana so quickly. Before him stands an enraged dragon. Taeyang uses transcendent vision to attack the creature. Then he generates a kind of blue-like can of power. The monster suffers tremendous damage. Then it falls from the sky, and the people watch as Taeyang manages to defeat the creature with a single blow. The boy is proud of what he has done because everything went perfectly. In the control room, people observe the battles against the dragons. A woman identifies an energy detected 200 kilometers away that is probably a dragon. More than 20 groups are moving. Another woman detects more dragons 50 kilometers away. It's probably a leader since it's an alpha type. The dragon approaching the train starts to walk in the opposite direction. Suddenly, someone invades the control room. It's a person with a cigarette between their teeth. It's the NPC Solomon. He approaches the cameras and the women. Then he asks what the situation is. The woman says that according to their observations, the situation is not good at all. The number of dragons has increased drastically since last year. Solomon looks indignant. The number of dragons has increased rapidly, and indeed they are becoming stronger. As expected from the white dragon Antara, Solomon wonders if the other dragons have their mana influenced by him. Solomon asks if there is any news about Antara, but the woman says there has been no movement yet. Then she says that if Antara moves, he will appear. Solomon asks if she is referring to that person. The Guardian Commander is a dragon slayer, one of the few humans who has met Antara and the only one who was able to make him retreat. Solomon says that as long as that person is in the rear, everything will be intact. For now, they must use all their resources. Then before leaving, Solomon asks if there is any news about the rats this time. The woman says there are 3 individuals who are worthless, 2 who have some power and 1 superior. Solomon listens attentively and says they should make good use of these people. People push containers and carry boxes. Some of them are injured due to the battle. Taeyang observes that this battle has taken out half of them. Crusoe approaches and says that everyone did a good job. He says that the survivors from now on will be members of the Defense Regiment. The man introduces himself as Crusoe, the commander of the 1st Battalion. He speaks to Taeyang, calling his attention. Then he asks the boy to report what happened. The boy then provides the necessary numbers to the man. Taeyang is doing his best to try to look serious enough. In the chat, people mockingly say he looks like a soldier. Crusoe asks Ran how old she is, and the girl says she is 22 years old. Then Taeyang starts to say his age, but Crusoe says he doesn't want to know. Looking at the duo, Crusoe says that both will be admitted as members of the Vanguard Defense Battalion. They must report to their respective battalions and receive instructions there. The Vanguard Defense Battalion is an elite unit with a higher strength level. It is the unit that deals with monsters. The first battalion is made up of men and the second is made up of women, so they are organized into 2 battalions. Taeyang is taken to the first battalion. The MC is worried about that mission. The gear room is so close that he can almost feel it. The young man just hopes everything goes smoothly. Someone talks to Taeyang and he introduces himself. The young man asks Taeyang what his relationship with Ran is. Nervous, the boy says that they are not a couple. The man starts to tease him, saying that Ran can't take her eyes off him, so there's no way they aren't a pair. Stressed, Taeyang insists that there is really nothing between them. Meanwhile, in the girls' battalion, Ran meets with the others. They are very excited about the appearance of these new people and want to know if Ran has been with Taeyang in a more intimate way. They want to know every detail of Ran's relationship with the hero. Ran says that it just happened out of nowhere and now she has to live the rest of her life with Taeyang. The girls get emotional and ask what happened after that. They are extremely excited about the gossip. The battalions introduce themselves. Worried, Taeyang asks if Ran said anything strange in her battalion. The girl replies that no, after all, she only spoke the truth. Crusoe asks the soldiers if they are ready, and everyone responds in unison that they are. The commander says that the target is a white dragon. There are dragons that are much stronger than others due to the influence of Antara. They are even capable of using magic. Crusoe says that they are now passing very close to the nest of these white dragons, and they are extremely vigilant. Moreover, they attack in groups when the train passes. He says that their objective is singular, to eliminate all the white dragons that come near the train, and he will honor the one who performs best by introducing the engineer. Taeyang gets excited because that's exactly what he needs. On the ground beneath the soldiers, a strange glowing symbol appears. The young man asks what that is and Crusoe replies that it is a teleportation spell created by Solomon. Crusoe shouts for them to use that teleportation to get out of there and prepare for battle. They must be careful and will appear on top of the train. As the soldiers go up onto the vehicle, the dragons watch them from afar and begin to approach. Crusoe shouts for them to prepare for battle. Everyone gets into fighting position. Taeyang tells Ran that they need to finish this once and for all with a single blow. The girl says that it's nothing too serious and she can handle the situation very well. But suddenly something catches her attention, leaving her scared. The wind is moving in a different way. Ran notices that it has simply stopped, so she calls Taeyang, worried. A huge dragon approaches the train, flying over it. Taeyang feels something strange, something even stronger than those small white dragons. Suddenly, a much larger and more powerful white dragon appears. It is Antara. In the chat, people get agitated because that dragon should be the mission's boss and was not supposed to appear at that moment. Worried, Crusoe shouts to contact the command room, but the soldier says that his mana has simply frozen. Tense, Crusoe reflects that there had been no news of this dragon in the last 20 years and the intelligence agency had always perfectly identified its movements. Crusoe wonders if Antara actually used mana freezing to deceive the intelligence agency and attack them at that moment when their guard was down. Crusoe shouts for everyone to stay in position and the dragon watches the enemies. Despite the people being there to fight, they begin to feel a lot of fear. Noticing that the dragon is about to attack them, people scream to get out of there, but there is nowhere to go. They are right on top of the train. Antara unleashes a violent attack on the group. The impact is highly explosive. In an instant, the train car simply shatters. That dragon is much stronger than expected, and its power is unmatched. Taeyang observes that it is preparing to attack again. Ran tells her and the MC to dodge it, because if they get hit, it could be the end. He says they have no way to dodge, and if the train is destroyed, everything will be over. Ran feels tense with the whole situation. In the end, they are right on top of the main room of the train, the engineer's room. Crusoe tries to convince the soldiers to advance, but they are fleeing in sheer terror. Taeyang summons the Lord Spirit of Torment that controls the wind. The boy says that in the army, if someone asks him to handle a situation, he will handle that situation. Inside the train, things start to get a bit chaotic. The beastly creature is on top of a shining symbol on the ground, but it remains chained. It is sitting on the floor as if waiting for something. Someone enters the room where the creature is and asks if it was responsible for causing so much damage to the base. That monster asks who that person is. The boy says that she wouldn't even understand if he told her. The man asks if that creature broke into the train through the back doors and questions how she survived for 6 hours in the cold without a fire pill. He then says that he wants to study the creature's body and understand what kind of mana flows through her body, as well as how different her body is compared to a human's. The creature asks what she gains from that, and the man replies that it is the machinery room. He is willing to take the thing to that location. The creature is shocked by that proposal. Then the man asks if she is a rat or if he should call her a player, as they usually say in her language. The beastly person says that the man seems to know a lot about players. Even so, he knows nothing about beastly humans. Breaking free from the chains, he says that beasts do not sell their bodies in exchange for nothing. The man asks if the beast wants to fight and says that it is not a good choice. The train moves forward over the icy snow. Taeyang reflects on the case of the train's gear being destroyed at that moment. In that case, the game will come to an end. No matter what it costs Taeyang, he is willing to block any attack and protect the train. Atera prepares to attack again. Then the creature pulls the air around to recover and accumulate power. Ran can feel all the mana being sucked in by Atera's mouth, and it is an absurd amount. Ran tells Taeyang that he cannot block that because it is a completely different power, but the boy replies that there is no way to turn back. He prepares to receive that attack, but his leg is wrapped in power. The boy's mana is being drained and will be depleted in no time just because he is using the summoning ability. Taeyang wonders if he can handle that. That is the stage where the cold and icy winds meet. Even so is an environment where the wind mana is extremely abundant. With all that mana, the lore that the MC summon is getting stronger and stronger. The mana is flowing in and the strength is increasing, but it seems to be reaching a level that Taeyang cannot withstand. The boy's body begins to change. Even inside, things feel different. He is much stronger now, and the mana is being sucked into his body rapidly. Taeyang starts to get worried. It seems that the mana will tear his skin. The boy feels that he cannot endure it any longer. A blue light appears and comments that it seems the MC is not having a good day. That is why she wants to help him. The boy wonders what that is. For some reason, he recognizes that voice. The mana flows around him like magic, and the boy is astonished. Suddenly, that mana calms down, relieving Taeyang's body. Atera is still preparing to attack. All the soldiers run, shouting for them to try to dodge that. A huge blue ball forms in the dragon's mouth. A flaming attack heads toward the train, directly at Taeyang. But the boy is determined to stop it. Then he attacks as well to try to prevent that blow. A massive explosion of powers occurs, illuminating everything around. The soldiers are left speechless, questioning whether Taeyang really managed to stop the attack. The boy wonders whose voice he heard. Then he falls to the train floor out of energy. Ren runs to him, worried. Taeyang realizes he is exhausted after using all of his mana on that last ability. Crusoe shouts for everyone to be careful. The attack was not destroyed, only diverted into smaller attacks that need to be dodged. People run to avoid being hit. Taeyang and Ran observe that. The boy gets stressed because he thought he had ended it all. Someone approaches and says that his efforts are truly admirable. She draws her weapon and says that from then on, she will take care of things. Then, with her sword, she delivers a powerful blow in the air that destroys the attacks launched by Antara. Taeyang is impressed by what he sees. That person is indeed very strong. That man walks through the corridors with his bird cloak. All the soldiers greet him and bow. He's a serious man with a huge scar on his face. Then he enters a command room. There are some people seem to be waiting for him. As soon as he enters, the people say that he's finally here. At the head of the table is the NPC Benjamin, the train's engineer. The man is NPC Guhol, who says he hasn't seen Benjamin in a long time. Guhol is the guardian of the command body of the sword. Guhol says at least the engineer is doing well. He then asks if Solomon is nearby. Worried, Crusoe says they need to hurry. Antara withdrew after Guhol's attack, but they have started attacking again. They do not know when Antara might strike again. A girl at the table says that the Union agrees, but Benjamin seems quite bothered. They then begin the session of the Supreme Council of Alka. They mention that probably everyone there knows the agenda, which is the position where the white dragon Antara is located. The woman says that by this point, the citizens' anxiety is already very high. A man says that perhaps they should not provoke Antara. Maybe the dragon will return if they stay quiet. Someone enters the room by kicking the door. The young man asks if he is late for the session. He is injured and tired. Guhol and Benjamin stare at him. The woman at the table asks Solomon what happened as he sits down. Taking a cigarette, Solomon says they need to deal with Antara and have no other choice. Benjamin asks why that is. Solomon says it would be more useful if they could get a punitive force rather than keep asking why. The young man says they have no reason to make people like the punitive force, and it will take more than a day or two to fix the broken train. Solomon sighs and says that Antara approached them when their guard was down and froze the mana abilities of the soldiers. To Antara, that train is like a food delivery. Eliminating the white dragon Antara is no longer an option, but an obligation. If they want to end Antara, they need to move quickly. Guhol seems pleased with that decision. Benjamin agrees and says to initiate the punitive force against Antara right at that moment. Everyone at the table falls silent for a few moments. Benjamin concludes by saying that this is good. Taeyang hears Beelram's voice calling him. The young man suddenly wakes up, but who is there with him is not his sister, but Ran. She asks if the boy has woken up. Taeyang questions what happened and where Antara is. Ran explains that it has left, but something else happened. Before them stands Crusoe and a series of soldiers. Crusoe says that players Ran and Taeyang are being summoned. They are taken to the Supreme Council of the train. The table is empty this time. The spectators observe that Taeyang is the first person to manage to enter that council, and the simple act of looking Benjamin in the face should be an achievement. A noise catches his attention. The Beastman enters the place guided by Solomon. saying that although he accepted that, he does not accept being used as a research object. Taeyang is impressed to see that it is a beastly human. The Beastman stops in front of our hero, and they stare at each other. The creature says that it is he, Taeyang, who carries the scent of his relative's blood. The MC is confused, and some spectator donates 1,000 won, sending the message that probably that tiger is related to the others that Taeyang eliminated in the other level. Then the young man remembers the creatures he annihilated. The Beastman asks Taeyang if he has crossed paths with his relatives. Then the creature says that our hero is lucky because those were wretched, and he prefers death to being someone who admires ending someone else's life. Ran asks if he thinks he is different from those men. He replies that the girl has terrible manners, then says he could annihilate her very easily and asks if she wants to try. Indignant, Ran prepares for a fight, but Taeyang steps in front of the girl to make her stop. He then tells her not to waste her resources unnecessarily, especially since that is not an easy opponent. Guhol approaches and asks if everyone is present. Smiling, he says it is time to start the meeting. After a brief conversation, Taeyang asks if what they are proposing is for them to help in the hunt for the white dragon Untera. Meanwhile, the Beastman and Rand stare at each other with deadly intent. Guhol says that is correct and all people with extraordinary power must help, including him, and the man hopes that those present will help as well. That is an essential mission that will ensure the survival of the train. Moreover, it is a mission given by the commander, which will make Taeyang a glorious hero. The MC asks what happens if he decides to refuse. Guhol says that if they succeed after the operation is over, he can send Taeyang to the machinery room, as that is his goal. The MC reflects that this is something he could do even at that moment. Then Taeyang says that the man needs to give him something more tempting because he is not feeling very motivated by that kind of reward. Guhol is bothered by his audacity. Then he starts to draw his sword and says that he understands why Taeyang might not be satisfied with that kind of reward. Crusoe looks worried and Guhol raises his Type B light sword. The woman present asks if Guhol is saying he will pass on his light sword. That light sword was created with a combination of various magics and a lot of technology at a time when the world was still intact. Taeyang reflects that this is the sword capable of cutting even the fire of a dragon. If that is the case, then he will probably be able to face Untera. Solomon asks if Guhol is sure he wants to give his sword, and the Guardian says that hunting Untera is directed toward human existence, so he will not regret it. The young man asks Guhol to give him the sword in advance. Since he is giving the sword as a reward for whoever takes down the dragon, it won't make much difference if he advances the reward. Guhol can hardly believe that Taeyang has such audacity. Then he starts to laugh in front of the boy. The MC is confused and then Guhol throws his sword to him. Guhol says that now that Taeyang has the sword, he expects the boy to win that hunt. He is more motivated than ever. Then Guhol says that this is not a sword that any amateur can hold in any way. But since it is not just anyone but Taeyang, he cannot predict. The boy remains silent, observing Guhol. Hyan says that this sword can cut anything, but it consumes a lot of mana to use, and it is difficult even for Guhol to wield it for more than a minute. It's a super rare item, but it seems useless to players. Taeyang observes the sword for a moment. He asks the Beastman if he doesn't need a weapon, and the creature replies that they do not need metal objects to fight. The boy asks Solomon when they will start. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise from outside. Solomon says that Taeyang is not a good novice. Crusoe tells Solomon that Untera is approaching and asks if they should initiate the escape movement, but the young man says no. This time, he wants to attack directly. Solomon opens teleportation portals for everyone present. With a slight smile, he tells everyone to hold on tight. The group is teleported above Untera's head. Taeyang notices that they are heading towards the dragon very suddenly, and it seems there is no plan. Ram warns him to be careful because the wind does not seem to be gentle. The boy asks what she is talking about. Ran explains that the wind is unpredictable, and that means a fatality is about to happen. She just wants Taeyang to be cautious. Untera launches its attack towards the group. The dragon begins to accumulate mana in its mouth to wipe out everyone there. More quickly, Guhol rushes towards the creature with his sword. He aims and attacks directly at the accumulation of mana in Untera's mouth. The light of his sword clashes with what Untera releases from its mouth. The blade is so powerful that it manages to cut the attack in half. Solomon approaches the dragon and blows into the wind. He opens a portal right in front of him. Then a thunderbolt strikes Untera. The dragon writhes in agony from that violent attack. Solomon questions if he is going too slowly, but Benjamin says he is doing very well. Then Benjamin also opens a portal and teleports, causing a second lightning strike towards the dragon Untera. The creature writhes wounded. Several other smaller dragons begin to approach to attack, but Crusoe is equipped to stop them while the others deal with Untera. The Beastman complains that Taeyang is not with them to face the smaller dragons, but Crusoe tells them to stop fighting because they need to focus on the mission. The dragon Untera is becoming increasingly aggressive and furious. Several smaller dragons fly towards Taeyang, Crusoe, and the others. Apparently, the leader of the smaller dragons is there heading towards them. The boy gets excited because defeating the dragon leader could earn him a great achievement. But the human beast gets stressed and says he will take the lead. Taeyang and he glare at each other angrily. Antara roars in front of Solomon, Benjamin, and Guhul. Solomon uses his magical breath to attack the dragon once again, but something catches him by surprise. Benjamin shouts for the boy to dodge it, but Antara defends himself by hitting him. Solomon flies away and notices that the dragon is much faster. Their mana is depleting quickly, and soon they will be at a disadvantage. Solomon returns to attack the creature. Guhul flies above the furious dragon, preparing to strike again with his light sword. The powerful attack hits the dragon's chest, but his sword doesn't even penetrate the creature's shell. Guhul is left confused about what is happening. The dragon terror's skin seems to be much stronger than they thought. Then the monster throws Guhul away as well. The man crashes into the ice like a missile. Guhul observes that he is no longer as young as before. Apparently, not even his attacks are a match for Antara. Mocking his friend, Benjamin says that Guhul has gotten weak over time. The man replies that Benjamin is also getting soft with age, but Benjamin insists that he remains as strong as ever. Guhul mocks him, saying that his legs are already shaky. Solomon appears and tells them to stop arguing about silly things and focus on the battle. They continue to bicker for a while, but they are soon interrupted as Antara approaches at high speed to finish them off. Solomon uses his power and says that if he were as old as Guhul or Benjamin, he would never say such things because this is not the time for it. Solomon launches an attack with several beams of light towards Antara. The dragon groans in pain as it is hit. Guhul leans on his sword to get up. The sword begins to glow in the man's hand, but its brightness is fading. It seems that his mana is escaping and the light sword is almost activated. Guhul needs his body to hold firm. Then he activates the sword, determined to put all the remaining mana into the weapon. Meanwhile, the beast Taeyang continues attacking the dragons. They win the battle against the smaller dragon boss together. Then they start arguing to try to decide who dealt the final blow. The atmosphere between the two begins to turn hostile. The human beast says that Taeyang is blinded by his greed, and the boy replies that it's not his fault, that he is a much better warrior. Angry at him, the creature asks if the boy wants to fight. Excited, the MC says yes. But suddenly, Gran appears behind the dragon, catching their attention. She tells them to stop their childish bickering and says she is finished her part of the job. Crusoe says he will take care of the smaller dragons. He wants the group to go help the commander because the situation with the dragon Antara doesn't seem to be going well. Taeyang says he didn't expect this position from Crusoe. The man asks if he would even be able to stop the MC if he wanted to. The boy smiles and says that Crusoe is starting to understand him. Ran and the human creature are serious and ready to advance. Then they run towards Antara and the others. There the battle is fierce. Solomon, Benjamin, and Guhul are giving their all to defeat Antara. Guhul is thrown far away by the dragon. He crashes against a rock and gets severely injured. Taeyang is worried about the man. Antara lets out a violent roar full of fury. Guhul is almost out of strength. Solomon and Benjamin are also exhausted. Ran observes that the situation is much worse than she thought. Taeyang says that actually the situation is better. This is his chance to deliver the final blow. There is an achievement that is only given to the player who manages to annihilate Antara. Hyan wonders why Taeyang is seeking that. Then the MC summons the storm spirit again. Solomon is astonished to see the whirlwind forming. Then he smiles and says that Taeyang arrived just in time. Solomon puts his cigarette in his mouth and lights it calmly. While the young ones distract Antara, they can rest a bit. Benjamin complains that Solomon is treating him like an old man. Then Benjamin asks Solomon for a cigarette, who says that the man is already too old to be smoking. The old man lights the cigarette, believed to be having a moment of peace. Before him lies Guhul, fallen on the ground. Benjamin extends his hand to his friend. He says he has been with Guhul for 50 years. Guhul asks what Benjamin is talking about and if he is already losing his mind. He holds his friend's hand to get up. Smiling, Benjamin says that he might really be losing his mind. Solomon becomes worried about what is happening. An unexpected attack occurs. A violent lightning bolt suddenly strikes. It quickly incinerates Guhul, taking the warrior's life. Benjamin shows no reaction upon seeing his friend depart. Solomon is stunned by that scene. Then he asks Benjamin, his father, what's happening. Benjamin's power becomes very intense. He reaches out to his son and tells them to return to the train. Solomon is shocked that his father's stance has changed so suddenly. Long ago, the dragons had already invaded. At that time, they were surrounded. People asked young Benjamin what they should do. The boy ordered them to protect the train. The winged creatures advanced on the boy. Benjamin gave up his own life and closed his eyes. But something unexpected happened. A figure appeared before him and saved him, cutting the dragon. It was Guhul, also young, who asked if Benjamin was lost in his own thoughts. The boy was astonished and very happy to see his friend. Guhul reached out his hand to Benjamin at that moment. Then he encouraged his friend to get up because they needed to protect the train. Both prepared to face the dragons. Now Guhul had been incinerated, and nothing of him remained. Solomon can hardly believe what happened. Benjamin reaches out to his son and tells him to return. By that point, the objective had already been achieved. and he would take care of the bastards who caused trouble. He plans to take advantage while the group is drawing Antera's attention. Benjamin says that if necessary, they might even sacrifice some people. He speaks in a dark voice that now the power to make decisions about the train depends solely on him. Solomon questions whether his father really thought he would ignore all of this and let it go. Benjamin says he already imagined that his son would not agree with his actions. Then Solomon's father launches a glowing web in his direction. The boy uses his wind power to deflect the attack, but Benjamin manages to capture him. Benjamin tells his son that he has always said this, but his response is always one step behind. Suddenly, a light ignites up to the sky. The light catches the attention of Taeyang and the others. Rand questions what is happening, and the Beast Man wonders if this is a betrayal. Apparently, the hunt for Antera is just a ruse. The real objective was to eliminate Commander Guho. After that, Benjamin's goal is to abandon them. Now the three are facing the dragon Antera. The monster is furious and ready to finish them off. Taeyang questions how they had the courage to take advantage of them. The boy wonders if he should just wait for his end. Rand says that now is the time to deal with Antera. Antera opens his mouth and consumes all the wind that Rand launched at him. The girl is frightened by the creature's reaction. The dragon retaliates by unleashing a storm towards Rand, who flies away. The Beast Man tries to attack the dragon while it is distracted. The boy is determined to destroy Antara once and for all and brings his claws close to the creature's eye. But before he can do anything, Antara strikes him with a quick blow, throwing the boy away. He digs his claws into the ice to avoid falling. He ends up injured and is indignant about being attacked. But he does not give up and jumps back onto the dragon, determined to finish the creature. Taeyang puts his hand on the sword, ready to initiate an attack. Our hero reflects that he can only use that sword for a few minutes, so he needs to find a way to resolve this in a short amount of time. Suddenly, the boy has an idea. Then Taeyang calls out to Lord Arizio. He concludes that this was the voice he heard earlier. The MC shouts that if he doesn't want this to end so easily, he must help him and Taeyang will do his best. The blue voice says that this is interesting. Then it says that if this is his choice, he must prove it to him. That is not a skill, but Arceo's desire. A purple light emanates from Taeyang's finger. The dragon is ready to finish everyone off, but Taeyang is now prepared. The boy wonders why Antara is attacking him while he tries to prepare. The dragon is determined to end him. Suddenly, something strikes the creature intensely. It is the Beast Man who attacked Antara. Facing Taeyang, he tells the human not to let his guard down. Smiling, the boy asks what that tiger is talking about and launches a fiery attack at Antara, who dodges. Then he faces Taeyang. He strikes the Beast Man, throwing him far away right in front of him. The boy is astonished. Then he is struck by Antara with a precise blow. Immediately, Hyen and Ran become frightened and worried about Taeyang. The boy left a trail where he was thrown. But he is intact, and in his hand is the sword. The transformation is complete, and Taeyang is holding both swords, Type B and Type A. Rand notes that this was the weapon Guhol used. Taeyang says that now that he has all the necessary items, the fight can begin. Come. Lord Arizil of the Storm and Wind follows the boy after granting him his power. The boy now has all the mana needed to face Antara. Taeyang thanks the Lord for helping him. He then uses his wind power to create a huge whirlwind and launches himself into the air. Antara looks up and then ascends. The dragon takes flight towards the MC to try to attack him, but the boy rises at high speed. Taeyang looks down and sees Antara approaching. He observes that he still cannot handle all the strength as he does. If he makes a wrong move, the people around could get hurt. Even so, there are still a few options left. Taeyang opens up in the air and shouts for Antara to come closer so he can destroy the dragon. The dragon flies furiously towards the boy. The creature uses its powerful breath, and Taeyang complains, saying that this is cheating. The boy is almost hit, but a strong wind protects him. It is Rand who saved him and shouts that this is too dangerous for him. The boy smiles at the girl and says he was counting on her. Antara does not give up attacking and continues launching its power towards Taeyang. Rand shouts for him to be careful. The MC dodges the attacks. There is no more time to waste. Suddenly, something catches the boy's attention. He sees a light on the horizon approaching at high speed. Taeyang is startled by that brightness, not understanding what it is. That stage is very cold and freezing, where the winds are born, and therefore the mana of the wind element is extremely abundant. Our hero smiles. He calls for Arizil while preparing to fight Antara and end the dragon once and for all. The dragon prepares to attack the boy once again. Then the boy closes his eyes. Using the power of light, Taeyang activates the Type A and Type B swords. He prepares to cut Antara's attack. But not only that, he manages to split the dragon in two, and the system informs that the dragon has been eliminated. Inside the train, someone enters Benjamin's room and shouts that Antara has been eliminated. The engineer can hardly believe it. Before them are wounded soldiers. Solomon is tied up and detained. Benjamin says he is very tired of all this while touching his bloody face. Taeyang lands on the ground after defeating the dragon. In the chat, people are very excited, celebrating and praising Taeyang. The light from the swords begins to weaken a little. The boy realizes that this time he probably overdid it. His legs start to tremble, and he loses his balance. But before he falls, Ran catches him. Smiling, she asks if the boy really depends on her. Taeyang says he can't talk at that moment because that sword consumed more of his mana than he expected. The Beastman starts complaining that even though they won, they were betrayed. This means they were used. Something catches Ran's attention. It's Taeyang looking for something in the fallen dragon. The girl asks what he is doing. The boy tears open the dragon's carcass and says he is just looking for items. These are items that can only be obtained here, so if they don't take advantage of it, they will be wasting opportunity. Many products can be obtained from a dragon's body. The good part is used to make weapons, the blood is used to make magic, but Taeyang is looking for something more precious. The boy is after the pure magic of the dragon. The viscera contains a miraculous elixir that, if consumed, guarantees an immense amount of mana and the dragon's heart. Ran says that is very disgusting and questions why the MC is holding that heart. The boy replies that it is obvious and he plans to eat it. Shocked, Ran asks if he is really going to eat that. Taeyang says it is just a joke and starts looking for something inside the heart. In a few moments, he pulls out something shiny and red from deep inside. The boy says that was what he wanted. It looks like a crystal and is a rare item, the dragon's heart. The Beastman and Ran are left confused by the situation. Hyan tells the MC that if he consumes that, he will absorb it naturally. Then Taeyang swallows the small crystal. The system informs that he has acquired the dragon's heart. Ran observes that all the mana stolen from the dragon has been absorbed by Taeyang. The boy suggests that they return to the train. It's time to conclude that stage. A soldier stands up amidst the chaos. It's Crusoe, who is badly injured. The man says he will guide them. Meanwhile, the train wanders along the tracks. A soldier tells Benjamin that they have confirmed the dragon is dead and questions how they should deal with the people before they return. Benjamin is shocked at how those people managed to capture the dragon Terra. The soldier says that the MC managed to activate the Sword of Light. Upon hearing that, Benjamin is astonished. He then asks if Taeyang used the Guru's sword, and the soldier replies that judging by the mana that floated after its use, it seems impossible to reuse that weapon. Then the soldier says they should wait outside the train and take out the three when they arrive, as well as steal their items. Someone rushes into the room shouting that 3 people are approaching. He says they are moving very fast and that they will arrive in 3 minutes. Benjamin reflects on what they should do. His hand is stained with blood at that moment. He mentions that it has been a while since he put his body into a fight, so this is a bit much for him. A soldier tells Benjamin that they will handle those people and the engineer should hide, but Benjamin says he won't let that happen. The man is determined to go out and face them. He then asks other soldiers if he has cigarettes, and the young man replies that he does. Benjamin lights the cigarette and smokes patiently. He questions why he should take care of his body if he probably won't live much longer. At that point, Benjamin has nothing left to lose. He finishes smoking the cigarette and they head towards the train. In a few moments, Taeyang, the Beastman, and Ran arrive. The boy says that this moment must have been a shock for them. Ran and the tiger attack simultaneously with powerful blows. They hit the train squarely, causing an explosion. A red attack nearly hits the tiger, cutting his face and leaving him startled. It's the guards who are armed with firearms trying to attack them. They shoot repeatedly at the tiger. But Ran approaches and defends the boy with his wind power, deflecting the bullets with a shield. The bullets return against the soldiers, hitting them. Benjamin observes that Ran and the Beastman are there, then wonders where Taeyang is. Suddenly, right above the man, the boy appears. The boy pierces Benjamin's hands, pinning him to the ground. Ran shouts for the MC not to give Benjamin the chance to cast spells. Benjamin realizes they are trying to prevent him from casting spells. That's not possible. Even pinned to the ground, Benjamin manages to use his magic. Hyan becomes worried and tells Taeyang to move away. The boy jumps away while Benjamin tries to hit him with his magic. Benjamin attacks with everything he has, expending the maximum of his power to finish off Taeyang. The MC complains that Hyan told him that if he blocked Benjamin's hands, the man wouldn't be able to cast spells. The girl responds that it should be true, but apparently it isn't, and Benjamin is surrounded by dark magic. Taeyang is now in a complicated situation. Using all of his energy, he activates the Swords of Light. Thanks to having consumed the dragon's heart earlier, his mana has increased drastically. Benjamin becomes worried upon hearing that. When the boy leaps towards him, he remembers Guhol using his combined swords. Taeyang strikes Benjamin, cutting him. The cut is so fast and precise that the man is caught off guard. Benjamin can hardly believe that Taeyang is using that Sword of Light. The man's arm is torn off, but black smoke begins to emanate from him. The boy wonders why that smoke is coming out. The cruel leader starts to smile like a madman. Benjamin sealed his left arm to summon Atlas. The man has a demonic look and says he will finish off Taeyang right there, even if it takes some time to recover. Chimera watches the battle. The Demon Lord notes that this is quite problematic. If they let things stay as they are, the Endless Train stage will collapse. Creating a well-structured and rich narrative stage is not an easy task. That's why Chimera is determined to put an end to it. The Demoness snaps her fingers. Then the magic happens. Taeyang stands before Benjamin, ready for a historic battle. The game is paused for administrator auctions. All scenes abruptly stop. Chimera is determined not to let such a good stage be destroyed like that. The game is paused while everyone is fighting. Benjamin and Taeyang are ready for a historic battle. Meanwhile, Ran and the beastly human are fighting against the soldiers. Suddenly, something strange happens. Taeyang suddenly awakens in a different place. The same happens to Solomon, who is confused about where he is. Benjamin, the tiger boy, and Ran also appear there. Chimera approaches them and says it is a pleasure to finally meet them. Then she says she is responsible for that stage. Ran is confused about the train's owner being a demon. Benjamin speaks to Chimera as if he knows her. Chimera says it has been a long time since they last saw each other. The last time she met Benjamin, he was still young. Then she tells Benjamin that she is very sorry for Guhal. She says she is also very sorry for the players. She ended up summoning them there for personal reasons. Smiling, Chimera says she is very grateful that they understand. The tiger boy approaches and says that Chimera owes him an explanation. He says he has done a lot up to that point and she hindered him from winning that stage. Chimera says the boy should thank her. After all, that is the Room of Gears. Despite her intervention being involved, at that moment everyone there managed to get through that stage. Then she tells the players that based on what they have done up to that point, they should be rewarded. In the chat, people are excited because they have never seen a demon intervene like that at the level. Taeyang remains silent with a serious look. Ran says that this is a relief and they have to take advantage while the demon lord helped them. But the MC is not satisfied. He asks for an extra reward. Indignant, Taeyang says that if she doesn't give him the reward, he will take care of Benjamin. After all, he was almost winning the battle. Chimera speaks to the boy in a serious tone. Then she questions if the young man is saying he will go against a demon lord. Ran becomes worried and says that Taeyang is acting crazy, and even for him to face a demon lord is too much. The MC reflects that the demon lord always watches the game, but this time she suddenly decided to interfere. This can only mean that she is trying to prevent the stage from collapsing. Chimera is furious with Taeyang, but suddenly things change and she starts laughing at the boy. To everyone's surprise, Chimera says she actually likes Taeyang. She then comments that he is indeed an intriguing human. Then she says she will give him 2 extra achievements. Additionally, the S+ graduation will also be awarded. Our hero has accumulated 15 rewards. In Chimera's report, she notes that the group performed exceptionally and managed to handle adverse situations. Ran and the beastly boy are impressed that they reached the S+ graduation. Taeyang also obtained the 2 items, which are the light swords A and B in addition to the dragon's heart. Chimera says that now they can go to the next floor. She tells the boy that thanks to him, she was able to observe that stage with great interest after a long time. She says that the dragon's heart is a great bonus, but Taeyang needs to be cautious. Since the dragon's mana is very powerful, it could simply destroy the boy's body, so care must be taken. The human tiger starts to leave and Taeyang calls out to him. Our hero says they should go together to the next floor. After all, they worked very well as a team. The boy says it is very bold of him to suggest that he should trust humans even after being betrayed by one. To him, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Taeyang complains that the boy is very stubborn, and Rand says she also doesn't want to work with him. Chimera remembers Benjamin. The man is standing in front of her and then starts to approach. The woman tells him he should go back to the train. Chimera tells Benjamin that they should assume the situation has been resolved now that the engineer saved him. Benjamin complains about Chimera's behavior, saying it is horrible. The woman says that in the end, that is her job. Ultimately, acting as he did in his stage will not be something that will go unnoticed. Soon, she will return to meet him. Before Chimera leaves, someone calls for her. Solomon is heading towards the demon lord and his father is worried. Solomon says he knows and Chimera asks what he is talking about. Then Solomon says he knows that World is a video game created by demons and asks if he can leave. Chimera is surprised by the boy's stance. The woman reflects that Solomon is Benjamin's successor, and if he leaves, there won't be strong enough people on the train. Still, not rejecting challenges is the principle of the dimensional labyrinth. Then Chimera tells Solomon that he can leave whenever he wants. Smiling, she says that the dimensional labyrinth does not refuse challengers. Benjamin asks if Solomon is leaving. The old man is confused because his son wants to leave and says that they now have all the power they wanted. Solomon says that in that artificial world, there's nothing more he can learn from his father. He no longer wants to stay with his father, he actually wants to discover what the real world is and the truth behind that tower. In the darkness, someone says that Taeyang has arrived in the safe zone. There's a person surrounded by many others. She stares at a fixed point and throws her dagger in a drawing of Taeyang. The girl smiles and says she is waiting for the boy. In front of Taeyang and Ram, a door appears. In the chat, people start to get agitated because the MC is in the safe zone with the Messiah. Hyen wonders if it is the same Messiah she knows. The door opens and light enters. That is a small town called the Safe Zone. Taeyang enters the place. Many people are there looking at them and Ran is confused. The girl says that the boy has finally arrived and moves towards him. Ran and he are startled by what is happening. The girl hugs the boy to everyone's surprise. In the chat, people question why the Messiah is there. Taeyang wonders who that person is. She introduces herself as the Messiah. Angrily, Ran asks who that person is. The Messiah tells Taeyang that she missed him and approaches the boy to give him a kiss. But the MC stops her with his hand. Taeyang lifts the girl over his shoulder and says they need to get out of there. They enter an establishment with rooms. The receptionist welcomes them and introduces the place as an inn. The boy is confused that Letty is on that floor too, and she says she is wherever the players need her to be. Then she asks what they need. Taeyang says he wants a room for them. In front of the door, Taeyang realizes that Ran has followed them and asks what is happening. The boy apologizes and says she needs to wait outside. Ran is very confused by that. Then the player and the Messiah enter the room. Ran outside wonders why she couldn't enter and what is happening between those two. Taeyang didn't seem well or acting sensibly. The Messiah says that the MC invited her to his room sooner than expected. Yeon says she ended the chat for a moment and Taeyang can talk to the Messiah freely. The boy asks if the Messiah is like him. He questions if she is a player who entered the game long before him. Sitting down, the Messiah agrees. Then she says that among the players, Taeyang is the only one who doesn't know her. He asks if the people with the Messiah are also players, and the girl says that half of them are. She says they are her followers, and as she ascends the tower, their number increases. Taeyang is shocked by how there are still people entering the game after what happened. The Messiah asks what the MC thinks about joining her. Taeyang questions why he should trust the Messiah, and she replies that she is a user. Who could he trust if he doesn't even trust other players? Hyeon reflects that the Messiah leads a large group of users and has come a long way. She is probably a high-ranking player. The MC says he has heard of several cases where players betray each other. The Messiah smiles and says that then she has a proposal. The girl quickly approaches Taeyang. Then the Messiah asks what our hero thinks about interacting only with her, leaving the followers aside. Initially, Hyeon was Taeyang's partner. Now the Messiah wants to get closer. The boy asks if she would abandon all her colleagues to go with him. She says they should observe the MC from a national perspective. What matters is not the treatment of those people, but rather ending that game. They have a crucial mission to rescue 300 million people trapped in the game. The girl is excited to do this alongside Taeyang. She comments that she knows he has the same determination as her to end that game. The girl gets very close to him. Then the Messiah leaves the room. When the door slams behind her, all her followers approach wanting to know what happened. One of the people asks if they are going to form a team to go to the next stage and mentions that she heard Taeyang has accumulated over 70 awards. Inside the room, the guy tells Messia that he only wants to save one person. Messia smiles and then says that Taeyang doesn't want to join them at the moment. Her group says that they trust and will follow Messia. The player smiles and says that this doesn't mean they will back down. Hyeon calls Taeyang and says that Messia's intentions may not be great, but they need to consider her level of power. Messia's deep knowledge of the game seems to be something very useful for them. Moreover, she thinks that the simple fact that other people are in the game can be a relief for the MC to understand that he is not alone. The guy says that he and Messia have very different goals. He's afraid that she will hinder him from saving Byorin for her own objectives. Taeyang says he is even considering turning off the live stream to avoid this kind of problem. The next day, Taeyang and Ran leave their quarters. As soon as they exit the inn, they come face to face with Messia. The girl greets them with a smile on her face. Hyeon says it is exactly as she imagined. The guy walks straight past Messia. He then says that if she plans to follow them, he will not take responsibility for anything. Once they enter the next stage, Taeyang will not help anyone. Messia says that this sounds a bit disappointing, but they do not need his help. The guy looks at Messia, and then they move on to the next stage. That is a completely reddish and frightening place where they appear. Taeyang wonders if that is a city. Suddenly, something starts falling from the sky. They are wanted posters announcing who needs to be found. The hunt is beginning, and at that moment, they have 20 million criminals. Hyeon says that this is the stage of generosity. From the top of a building, a woman observes. An employee serves her wine and she tells them to be ready. It seems that some annoying guests have just arrived. Everyone who arrived at this new stage looks around frightened. Messia says she will go first and asks if Taeyang noticed that they are in a race. So the leaders should serve themselves first. She winks at Taeyang. Then she leaves with her companions. Taeyang questions what it means to serve themselves first. Hyeon says that the objective in this stage is to find and annihilate most of the wanted criminals. By capturing them around the city, you can earn points equivalent to the crime committed, and the goal is 20 million points. After collecting all the points, you must return to complete the stage. The boy notices that one of the wanted criminals is worth 10 million points. Taeyang observes that she is the most valuable, and Hyeon says that she is indeed the best option for that stage. The MC is confused, and the girl says that she is involved with the mafia. That city is under the control of the vampire mafia. Our hero understands that this is why there is no sign of sunlight there. Then he asks Hyeon where they need to go to end this as quickly as possible. The girl says that first they need appropriate clothing for where they are going. Ran is indignant that Taeyang is talking to the ghosts and not telling her what is happening. Then he explains everything. One of the people is being attacked by the criminals and screams for help. One of the criminals asks her what her blood type is while holding a knife. Someone calls those delinquents vampires. It is Taeyang who says that they have cool clothes. Elsewhere, a party is happening inside a nightclub. It is the Club of Angels. Taeyang and Ran enter the club wearing the clothes of the vampire criminals they faced earlier. Ran says that the outfit is strange, and since it is the first time she's wearing something like that, she feels uncomfortable. The guy says that the vampire club doesn't seem any different from reality. In fact, it is as if it is their own world. Hye-in asks if Taeyang is seeing anyone. In the corner, there is a man sitting on a sofa with girls drinking a red juice. The red juice is of the AB positive type. Hye-in explains that Hormone V is manufactured and distributed by the Gang of Angels. Taeyang comments that the vampires seem to be awakening agents. Hormone V is a dispersal agent. It can instantly turn a human into a vampire, guaranteeing sensations that ordinary humans cannot feel. It is the most famous reward possible to obtain in the wanted stage. If you take it, half of your body will transform into a vampire and your abilities will improve. The boy gets excited and says they need to get that hormone. Hye-in says there is a way to solve all the problems, both the V hormone and the kindness. However, to do this, they need to enter the darkest part of the club, and for that, a special item is required. At the party, people are having a great time and you can see this through the cameras. In a separate room, a girl drinks a glass of red juice while humming. She seems happy and excited. Then she notices some strange movement. The woman sneezes and says she has a bad feeling about this. Her name is Angel, and she's an NPC. Angel calls her maid Harari to hand her something. But before she can realize it, a knife is at her neck, and someone behind her says that the night is going very well. It is Messia, who managed to get there before anyone else. Her name is like that of the Savior, and Angel asks how Messia managed to get past the guards and enter there. Messia laughs and asks if she is talking about those guys in the hallway. She managed to take them all down along with her team quite easily. Then Messia starts talking to Angel and asks if the woman doesn't want to give her what she has that is most valuable. Angel says that Messia is there for the head of the princess of that city. She is the most powerful vampire belonging to the vampire blood nobility. But Messia says she is not interested in that. She says she only wants an invitation to enter that night. Angel is frightened that Messia knows about the night. Messia leans close to Angel's ear and says she will tell her a story. She wonders where the original container for the production of the V hormone is. Now that the person responsible for distribution is gone, the original container of the V hormone can save them from the parasite's control. Angel wonders if Messia knows about that. Messia says that if Angel invites her to the night, she can share information with the woman. The vampire is indignant. Then she asks if she even has the authority to decide. The system informs that an invitation from Angel has been sent to Messia. Angel is outraged that a foolish human like her managed to threaten her life. If she discovers where the original product of the ritual is, she could take revenge and do 10 times worse. At least she was not after the V hormone, which is an important item to present that night. The V hormone, at least its essence, is protected and sealed with an ancient vampire ritual, and without Angel's noble blood, it cannot be opened. Someone enters the room calling for Angel, and she asks what happened. The man says their safe has been robbed. Messia smiles upon realizing that it was probably Taeyang who did this. She accepts that the boy made a good move. Worried, Angel enters the room. Her safe has simply been broken into several pieces. She sees that it was visited by Taeyang. The boy left a note saying that if she wants to get it back, she must invite him to the 7th floor. Angel is furious and crumples the paper. She is outraged by his audacity. Taeyang observes that it doesn't matter how many lackeys she has or how difficult it is to access the safe, nothing can stop him. Then Angel's invitation is sent to Taeyang. The boy questions whether they should go at that moment. It is time to enter the home of the bats. The night city has a red light coming from the sky. In the streets, people dance and play, having fun. There is a huge door with a security guard dressed in black. He stares and asks for the name of the person who wants to enter. Messia introduces herself, and since she has Angel's invitation, she can enter. Taeyang and Messia are inside the party. The girl greets the boy, wishing him good evening, and he is astonished. Messia notices that Ran is not by his side and says that she will probably be his partner for the night. They walk further inside. Upon arriving, they find an environment where people are gathered. It is possible to see how much can be earned for each of the people present. Hye-in says that everyone there are highly sought-after vampires and are worth a high score. A woman questions whether it is true that that thing will appear that night. A boy says there are rumors that Angel was robbed. Everyone there is gossiping about the V hormone and the robbery of Angel. Someone asks them to be quiet. Then he tells everyone to pay attention because the only search for the item is there. Taeyang observes that his action of stealing the secret V hormone is already spreading as a rumor, which could damage his reputation. Suddenly, something catches his and Mess's attention. A woman appears before everyone. Upon stopping over the light, it is possible to see that it is Angel. She says that it is a beautiful night for crime and greets everyone there. Looking down, she sees Taeyang. She mentions that there are many businessmen present and she doesn't want to waste time unnecessarily. So it is time to begin. Then the auction for the item starts. A curtain opens revealing several people trapped, with bags over their heads indicating their blood type. The people tremble in fear. In addition to them, there are various treasures and valuables. The vampires in the audience begin to get excited and agitated. Taeyang is outraged that they are selling people at this auction. Then Angel says she needs to do something first. Suddenly, several armed individuals are pointing their weapons at Messia and Taeyang. They are staring at the two, ready to attack. Angel says that first there are some rats to deal with. Taeyang remarks that it is not very kind of her to treat guests that way. Angel becomes furious with those irritating humans. She then orders her subordinates to take care of the two and leave no trace behind. The servants begin to shoot several times in the direction of Taeyang and Messia. However, when the smoke clears, only a mass riddled with bullet holes remains. The shooters are confused and suddenly they are struck by a blow. The barrels of all the weapons are quickly cut off. Taeyang says he was a bit scared because they seem like a mafia. Smiling with a sword in hand, and he says he is just disappointed now. All the vampires in the audience are impressed with what is to come. Then they start to laugh. Everyone there is roaring with laughter at Taeyang. They say it has been a while since they encountered such an interesting human and ask Angel what she thinks of the situation right at the auction. Angel says she doesn't know what Taeyang is planning, but you should remember that he can't do anything without the points. Taeyang tells her not to worry because someone generously gave them a lot of good things. Angel is confused by that statement. She doesn't know who the boy is talking about. If they manage to recover the Vive hormone before the auction ends, his life will come to an end. Angel says that was a small disturbance, and she hopes all the guests enjoyed the little performance before the auction began. Then she announces that she will start the auction for that night. The first item is a valuable piece inside a chest. It is a sword dated over 100 years. It belonged to someone who fought in battles against fallen angels. In the audience, people wonder if it is really that good. Angel announces that the price is 5 million points and someone raises their paddle. The auction officially begins and people start to raise the bid, reaching 9 million. Hyen is outraged that a single sword is being bought for the price of an entire building. Angel announces the final bid of 12 million and says the item has been sold the night there. Those items go far beyond what a human worm can look at. Then she announces the next item. It is the skull of the 100th human she used, and its value is 1 million. The people in the audience are outraged and ask if the woman is joking. They also say that it is not worth a coin. Angel stands firm and says the bidding starts at 1 million coins. Someone raises their hand and offers the first bid. It is Taeyang who offers 1 million for the skull. Everyone in the audience stares at the boy and Angel is startled. She asks if the boy is serious and says he doesn't even have money. Taeyang says he ended up collecting several valuable things earlier. In the audience, people are impressed and Angel wonders how he managed to think of that plan and use the jewels she kept as collateral. They move on to the next item, which is a sculpture, and the starting bid is 200 million. The boy offers to buy it. Next, the Viscount's treasure is also sold to the MC, who offers 3 million. The portrait of the birth of the goddess is also being auctioned. Taeyang raises his hand and offers 5 million for it. Angel is starting to get very stressed with the boy, but once again, he managed to buy it. The MC is accumulating several treasures and items around him. He says this is very fun. Angel begins to say that the next item will likely stimulate the guests due to its aesthetics and beauty. It is the Bloodstone. She starts to explain what that stone is, and in the audience, people talk about the possibility of turning into a vampire with it, but is just an urban legend. Hyen observes that it is true that it is possible to become a vampire with the Bloodstone. On the other hand, there is one more item needed. The ritual for producing the original Hormone V is necessary, a book that has become a legend in that city, where there is a method to become a vampire without being bitten. If someone becomes a vampire after a bite, they cannot refuse the commands of the master vampire. Thus, they become subordinate to someone. Hormone V can guarantee immense pleasure and power. It promises the vampire the freedom of not having to obey anyone. Messia offers 2 million for the item. She asks Taeyang if she can take that item. The young man says he doesn't mind. In the audience, people are asking Angel to show it because everyone is waiting. The auction is getting out of control at that moment, and the woman says that this time it will have to end differently due to the circumstances. The MC gets angry and asks if she's going to end the auction that way, then demands that the woman bring what they want. Smiling, Taeyang says he is sure everyone there is also waiting for something. He then takes a vial from his pocket. In the audience, people are astonished because it is Hormone V. That amount could last an entire month. The vampires in the audience become very agitated and want to capture Taeyang. They all gather and start moving towards the young man. Our hero tells Rand to get into position. Outside, the girl is sitting in a circle with strange symbols. She has her eyes closed in a meditative state. A magic begins to happen where she is. Rand then blows out a candle that is in front of her. The girl stands up and says it has been a long time. It has been a long time since she put on a show of that size. So the video ends here. If you don't want to miss the next part, activate the notification bell, and see you next time on Tob's channel.